Hello, this is Ruben Zarate, and you're listening to the Dante Elephante podcast. It is 2024, April 2024. We are back. It's been a long time. Nice to see you all again. I feel like every time we talk, I say it's been a long time, but it really has been a long time. And Dante Elephante is on the road. We have lots of shows, starting with this Saturday at El Cid in Los Angeles. So that's 420. We're playing with Paul Cherry, J.W. Francis, and Fontaine. Come to that show. That show will be crazy. I'm wearing a SpongeBob shirt that I got for Christmas, and it's the only shirt I had. Okay, so and then after that, we're playing May 10th, San Diego, the Wonderfront Festival with K Tronada, JID, Bakar. We're playing with like a bunch of amazing bands. So if you're in San Diego, we're playing Friday, May 10th. Maybe get off of work early. Maybe ditch work. Come see us like at 4 o'clock. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a fun show. Wonderfront's going to be insane. And then I have a show coming up that I can't talk about yet, so I'm skipping that one. And then, Dante Elephante is going across the United States once again, July 11th. We start the tour off with Hot Freaks. We're doing a whole U.S. tour with Hot Freaks. It's going to be hot. It's going to be pretty hot. We're starting off in Chicago on July 11th, Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Washington, Carborough, Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, Tampa, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Austin, Oklahoma City, St. Louis, Missouri, Milwaukee, Iowa City, Omaha, love Omaha, Denver, Salt Lake City, Boise, love Boise, Seattle, Portland, love Portland, Sacramento, love Sacramento. There's a lot of these places. And okay, let me rip this up. Sacramento, San Francisco, Santa Ana, Los Angeles, San Diego, and then we end the tour in Phoenix, Arizona. That's us with Hot Freaks this summer from July 11th to August 28th. And then I have a soft off on August 31st for A Fool in Love. I got tickets to A Fool in Love. If you guys saw that festival, it's one insane lineup. But either way, catch Dante Elephante on tour. Tickets on sale now at danteelefante.com/tour. And I appreciate it. This is, let's get into the episode here. This is episode 87 with Tom Cantillon. I should have got that clarified, but Tommy is someone I've known. It feels like since I was a teenager. His original band Holden used to play at my high school all the time, and we would go at lunchtime and see them play, and it was really great to kind of talk to him. I've never actually sat down and talked to him. This is kind of like that episode I did with Kyle Nicolaitis last year, where it's just someone who I've known for a really long time, but we've never actually sat down and talked, and I would kind of see their career from afar and be like, oh, wow, they're doing this, they're doing that. Like, how do I go on tour? I want to go on tour, things like that. So it's been really great to catch up with some of these people as things are kind of I've been pretty busy with things, and I will say this is a huge update here that I am pretty close to start tracking the new album. I demoed the whole thing in my practice space. I've kind of spent the last 6 months working on it, and I feel like the songs are done. I feel like it's going to be a pretty cool album, and I'm excited for you guys to come out and hear them at these shows, and for me to finally make this next record, which is, if you're a fan of Dante Elephante for a while, this one's been taking a while to make just because of everything that's been going on. But either way, I'm excited, and this episode is really great. We did it in our practice space and talked to Tom, and we talked to Tommy and the High Pilots. He has some new music coming out this Friday. So if you're listening, he's got music coming out this Friday. We talk about it. Talk a little football talk in here as well. And just all the work he's been doing with booking high schools and helping the kids and giving back. When will it be my turn to give back? I wonder that every day. Right now, I take and I take and I take. And I give back as much as I can. But this is a great conversation. I loved Tommy and the High Pilots. I loved Holden. I loved it just took me back to a lot of those good days of San Marcos High School. Shout out to San Marcos High School. And yeah, enjoy the episode. I'll see you next week. I think Ryan Pauly, I'm going to do Ryan Pauly next week. So he's back on the pod again, and appreciate it. Hey, talk soon.
But it sounds cool when you're outside and the music's coming out of the parking lot. People just stand there, drunk and like, this is great. Because we were in high school, we used to go to the top of that roof and throw water balloons down.
Oh,
at like 1 a.m. we would just, all the patrons who were leaving the bars, me and then Dan would come, Holden, the first band.
Yeah, Holden. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm sure we can get into all that.
We can get into all of it. We're just rolling.
Yeah, nice.
That's how I like to do it. Just get into it, man.
So we talk about football?
We could talk about football.
Okay, you're a Cowboys fan,
Big
right?
Cowboys fan.
Niners.
Can you pull the mic up just a little bit more?
Yeah.
Just to be safe.
There?
Yeah.
Dude.
The big news. The big news say in the football world, we could just start there, even though
I love it.
Caleb Williams is not throwing or taking the physical, any of his medical exams for the draft.
No kidding.
Do we think he just wants to? He doesn't want to go first or second.
My brother-in-law and my father-in-law, they're Bears fans.
Yeah.
And they could get him, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they'd be ecstatic. I feel bad because Justin Fields is super talented.
Right.
And I know that for them, it was like kind of when Jimmy G came in, it was like, oh, who's this? Oh, okay, this guy's good. Jimmy G had a much better situation. Right. Caleb has had like 3 offensive coordinators. He's never had the same scheme every year. Not Caleb. I'm sorry. Justin Fields. Yeah. But yeah, Caleb, I don't know. I think about RG3 or Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's been pretty good, though he's been passed around, but these guys are so good in college. And who heard of Brock Purdy before?
Right.
Like, but yeah, it seems like it's a pretty safe bet to grab Caleb. But if he doesn't want to go,
and
he can play another year in college.
People have said this has happened before, obviously, with like Eli not wanting to play. I think in the same conference as Peyton. I think that was mainly it, not necessarily that team. I just don't want to go to the AFC.
Yeah.
I think that mix, but I think it's weird. I guess it makes sense if he doesn't want to throw or do the medicals. Like I think he's trying to pull a power play here.
It seems like it,
and get himself out of that top 5 because he wants to go in 14-ish. That's where Mahomes went like 14, 15.
Brady, 6th round. Like it's rare, right? It was Peyton, right? Peyton went first.
Yeah, and
then is Peyton Manning. Amazing, one of the best ever. Aaron Rodgers. It's really rare.
Yeah,
and it's, I mean, especially look, you guys have a great quarterback.
Right.
I'm biased, but I will say like the scouts lost their jobs because of Brock Purdy.
Totally.
The guy that just left, one of the offensive coordinators just left and went somewhere else. He said a whole thing. He's like, if we knew Brock was good, we liked the tape, but we would have taken him way sooner if we knew that this would happen. Yeah. Like this,
There's like a whole weird thing about like value and drafting players at a certain point. Like, oh, well, hey, it's a steal if it's in the 3rd round, but it's like,
and he's 6'1", and the thing with guys like that or Drew Brees, and obviously we probably compare them in the next 10 years. We have to wait and see, but he can't throw it 70 yards down the field. It's like who does? Like, it'd be awesome if you won the Super Bowl because your quarterback threw an 80-yard Hail Mary,
right?
But that doesn't really happen.
Don't need that. Yeah.
Especially the Niners or guys on like good running backs and good, like get them the ball.
Yeah.
Niners are the yak team. Like
totally.
Get Debo or McCaffrey or Ayuk the ball and they'll get you another 20 yards.
Yeah, totally.
And anyways.
That was a rough Super Bowl though.
Oh man. Well,
that's a heartbreaker.
It was a heartbreaker in 2020. It's a heartbreaker now. But it felt like, I'm going to sound like such a dick.
Go ahead.
Like the better team didn't win.
Okay.
Again, this is all coming from a Niner fan, so let's put it in perspective. But, I mean, most of that game, Patrick Mahomes did not look good.
He didn't play great, yeah.
No, and Brock Purdy did play solid.
Yeah.
They didn't lose the Super Bowl because of Brock Purdy.
Right.
They didn't win it because of him, but it's not. I don't think the whole thing fell on his shoulders. And when Mahomes needed to drive down the field, he did.
Yeah.
I was like, this game's going to come down to the last drive.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be an overtime, and it looked like we could have won that game by 14 or 21 in regulation, but what are you gonna do? I mean, dude, and I'm a Dodger fan. Like, there's heartbreak. Just like,
I know, it just never ends.
Yeah. So okay, let me ask you this because I get asked this all the time, especially being like so outspoken about the Dodgers, Cowboys, because Are you from?
My father is a Cowboys fan, so it's just like
goes. Yeah.
I was born and raised a Cowboys fan, and
Yep.
they practice in Oxnard. We drive
right
down
by the golf course.
Oxnard.
I play there. I love playing there. Yeah, River Ridge.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah. So we go down there and we watch them practice, and
That's awesome.
I remember like being there and like watching Cole Beasley catch passes. Like, who is that? Like, who let that high school player in?
Dude.
And he was just playing as well as anyone.
Yeah.
It was like his routes were as good as Dez's, and like he'd catch, and I was like, wow.
Amazing.
And then I just watched him slowly get on the team, get a little bit more playing time, and he became one of my favorite players. I was like, because we get to watch him.
And you get it right there.
Yeah,
you get to go to Oxnard. That's right.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's like super close.
Yep. Is your pops, is he from Dallas or
no?
He just Aikman and Emmitt Smith?
Yeah,
and,
perfect timing.
Yep.
Like, my parents are kind of young. My dad's 54.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like he was in his 20s. He's the same age as all those guys.
Yeah.
As like Aikman. He's like literally the same age as like Emmitt Smith for sure. I think. So
yeah, I mean,
that
they
was
won
his crew.
3.
Yeah.
They won 3. Oh, you'll love this. Michael. I'm trying to blank on his last name. He played with them. Michael.
Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin. Okay. So me and my brother Michael and our brother Jimmy, we with High School Nation, this organization thing that we do. So we were at TASC, this conference in Texas where like student council advisors and students from high schools go to meet with organizations and say like, hey, we have these things to bring to your campus, blah, blah, blah. We can dive into High School Nation a little bit if you want. But so we're going to the airport to leave. It's Irving. It's near Dallas. And we go to this little strip mall. Michael has to use the bathroom or Jimmy has to use the bathroom. And so we walk into this Indian restaurant and it's empty. It's like noon on a Monday. And so we're standing outside. There's one little bathroom door like this. Standing outside. Out walks, like after 5 minutes, Michael Irving.
Yes.
And he pats his belly. He goes, "That was so good, boys. I feel so much better." And we were like, "Hey, man, nice to meet you." Like, and there was no one. It's this most random.
Dude, that's amazing.
Little strip mall. But dude, he's got like snake skin boots on. He stands there and talks with us for like a minute, 2 minutes.
Cool.
Yeah. And then he walked out. But he
I
like
love that.
Basically told us like he just got done taking a nice, like great dump. And we were like, that was awesome. I don't even know what to do with that. Like,
what year was this?
Oh, dude, this was like 2 years ago.
The other day. Yeah.
No, I just saw him. He's coming out of 101 Deli.
That's
yeah, so
that's
I was just
wild.
like, what just happened?
Man, the world of sports and the world of music, it's so weird how they collide sometimes.
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
it's just weird. Like I work at this management company and like one of the things we were doing for this album release was like reaching out to whoever this artist, checking their socials, who's famous follows them. Like, let's send them shit.
Oh, cool.
And there's a few athletes. And I was like, and it was like, I was so excited because one of them was a cowboy.
Oh, nice. Who was it?
Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh, yeah. What's the band, if I can ask?
They're called Shane Smith and the Saints. They're a country band.
Smith and the Saints. Cool. I like the name.
It's like crazy. I didn't know how many athletes out there are just like loving country like that. And then you realize, Jimmy Butler, he's from Texas.
Yeah.
Like he probably grew up listening to a bunch of country. And country's just having such a moment right now. I don't know if you've been paying attention.
It really is. And I feel like the part of it. So I grew up in this big classic rock house, but there was this little, like, it was Garth Brooks at the time was huge, who I love. Dude, I hear Garth Brooks sing. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. But there's this very, like, and I'm sure we agree, and every style of music has this, but there's this very corny, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Here's my truck. Here's this, whatever. Not to knock the people who get something out of that. Good on them. But like Chris Stapleton, Jason Isbell, maybe a little more folk. But there's these songwriters that are coming out where you listen to their lyrics and you're like, dude, you just stabbed me in the heart. Yeah. I love it. I'm super into
this new wave of country is insane right now. I'm like paying attention more than I ever have before.
Yep.
But you're right. That previous like 10 years of pop country of what we knew. And shout out to Brad Paisley. I've met him a couple times working at Seymour.
Big Dodger fan.
Big Dodger fan. Love Brad Paisley.
His interviews are awesome.
I went to one of his shows and I was like, this is like of the past 10 years.
Yes.
And I look at
but he's like
Tyler
a shredder too,
he's
right?
A big shredder.
I got no problem with
player.
Brad Paisley.
Oh no, I love Brad Paisley.
Yep.
But I did notice the difference. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And of course, he was playing his old songs. They're gonna sound old. Like someone did like a YouTube review of my last record, and he was like, yeah, like this album's really good, but I listened to the old stuff. It's just so 2010s. I was like, yeah, when do you think I made it?
That's when it's from.
Music from the 60s sounds like music from the 60s. Yeah, like they're all gonna sound like that decade.
Oh my gosh.
And I just thought that was it's just funny because we just are so freshly removed from that era, so maybe it seems old and tacky, like like surf rock from the 2010s, but it's like, dude, what do you think music from the 2000s sound like in the 90s? And like,
this is what was going on.
We are in the moment.
Yeah.
Like I am in the moment creating actively. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's funny.
No, and you listen to, and I'm going to ask you a little bit too about music, because one thing is a major fault of mine is new music. Yeah. Maybe more like lesser known bands or whatever. Like I also have a baby and a toddler.
Yeah.
and during COVID, I just kind of like, not that I shut out the world, but we were all kind of shut out from it and just demo home. I just stockpiled songs. But the thing is, when I listen to something, like say I hadn't heard Dante Elephante and I put it on, I'd be like, oh, this is awesome. I want to write a song now.
Totally.
I get turned on by it. And it's been a while since like, someone's been like, have you heard that band? And I say, no, I haven't heard of that band. And then listen to it and been like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I gotta up my game. Or this is super good. And I'm just going to listen. I'm going to burn it out. I'm going to listen to it like every time I walk my dogs until I can never listen to the song again. So
that's how I am too right now.
I think bad at discovering new music.
What was that process for you in the pandemic? Because everyone had like their own like dreams, like, oh, I'm going to make 1 million records when I'm locked down. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I told myself I was going to do that, and then I wrote like 5 songs or something. Maybe.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, obviously, right? Super weird time. Let's see. We spent New Year's Eve in San Francisco into 2020, and then found out Lauren was pregnant like early February. And then it was the High School Nation tour started, which I wasn't on, but the first date was in Simi Valley. So it was like, okay, let's go and make sure everything's running correctly. And like it was March, I want to say March 27th was the day.
Yeah.
And we were the first state to be like, to shut down. And so it literally, the event happened. There were 39 more dates scheduled.
Yeah.
No. So at first you're just like keeping your head above water. We had to make sure crew was paid. We had to, all the deposits stayed. The guy with the stage, he got to keep his deposit. His whole stage crew, great stage crew we work with from Southern California. But I think it took a bit of time to realize like, oh, we're just stuck at home.
Yeah.
And like we can go to Target, but that's it.
Yeah.
Take my dogs to the park, but that's it.
Yeah. So
Lauren was pregnant. She was newly pregnant. So we had 7 months before Ada was born. And the thing about pregnant women is like they fall asleep super early. So we had this 2-bedroom apartment at the time, and I had kind of like this set up.
Yeah.
And I just wrote, and the first song I wrote was like, just really inspired because it was like, oh shit, we're pregnant now. This is a whole new thing. Right. Like your first breakup or the first time you move, like you could get as a songwriter, you're like, oh, this is just natural. I got to write this.
Right.
So the first thing I wrote, like gate opened up. And then as of right now, like if I'm being honest, like songs that are done, meaning demoed, a couple of them I've recorded with Dan in a studio to get ready to release. But there's like 30 songs done.
30 songs, wow.
Yeah. Like
lyrics and everything.
Yeah. And an actual demo, like it's written, it's structured, and no producer has touched them yet, but I might just do it with Dan and just produce it and have him engineer it, and produce it. Like they're already written and done. It's like we just play the music and But in fact the more so than ever, and I think because I always had a band. Yeah. Always had. There's other opinions, and we had management for a bit, and people that are like helping or have opinions or whatever, and you're a little more, I don't know, confident with like a gang. Totally. So it's the first time like I don't have a gang.
Yeah.
And I'm like walking
the
out
shots, and you're like, I don't know.
And I'm so ton of insecurity, resources, money. There were a lot of things where I'm like, how do I put this? I don't just want to put it out and like.
Yeah. Then it goes away.
Exactly. Yeah. So right before Lila, our second daughter, who's now 3 months old, was born, I told Lauren, I was like, I'll help with Ada at night, and then I need like the be in the garage.
Right.
Because this one's coming in a week. So in that week before Lila was born, I finished 6 songs. And what I think are good, I'm like, okay, these are good. And now that makes 30. And now I need to stop being such a chicken shit. And put this stuff out.
Start really being hypercritical almost.
Yes.
And like, okay, these are the best right here.
Yes. If there's 30, there's got to be 5 good songs.
Yeah, they're ready now.
Something that I'm proud to be like, here's my first solo album.
Totally.
And it's the other thing too. I'm just like, what do you do nowadays? Going back to Holden, the first band I was in, like there was no MySpace. There was no iTunes. This is we were a band for 2
what year? What years? 01.
So in fact, they were Livewire for like a year, which was I wasn't in.
Yeah.
But Steve Libby, who later was the High Pilots bass player, was in. Like we recorded and made CDs, and then we toured our asses off and sold a bunch of, people were at shows buying CDs. And I'm like, I want to make a CD and bring it to shows. And everyone's like, no, I'll just download it. Like, oh, okay, shit. So what does that mean? I need download cards or like, it's a lot.
Okay. So 2001, how old were you?
15.
You're still in high school.
Yeah. So 15, 16, we started like, we of course played the living room, the fairground, like local things.
Sure.
Maybe traded out a show here and there in like SLO in LA or San Diego or something like that. And then the summer between my junior and senior year, those guys they graduated. They were a year ahead of me. We decked out a school bus as an apartment and trailer, and we toured for 3.5 months.
Wow.
So I was 2 weeks late to my senior year.
Oh.
So yeah, we started it was pretty hardcore. They were out of high school.
So like a summer tour right before school started.
Yes.
Like it kind of.
Got back to school 2 weeks late, but I did like connect with my counselor. And then we set up another tour in the middle. It was like February, March, April.
Right.
And so my counselor was really cool. She said, what we can do is transfer you to La Cuesta. I guess there was a pro surfer at my high school. I didn't know him because he was never there, but they did the same thing with this person. And so I got to go, and they basically handed me stacks of work. And they're like, just finish this while you're on the road over the next couple months.
Yeah.
So I did. And then they transferred me back as a pass, no pass. So I had already completed everything.
Right. So
for my senior year. So I was just kind of like there.
Chilling. Yeah.
I think I was an aide to Aaron Solis. Did you go to St. Marcus?
Yeah, I went to St. Marcus, yeah.
So Solis, I was like his aide, but that was my second period. I didn't have a first period. I didn't have a third period. So sometimes he'd be like, just grab me coffee.
Yeah.
And then you're good. And so I'd be like, okay.
Nice.
But I got to walk. I got to graduate, which was cool. I was ready. The second I got, the second I got a guitar, I'm like, oh yeah, there's nothing else. I'm not good at anything else. I don't know if I'm good at this, but I know I love doing it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Did you go to high school with Alex Mack?
Yeah, Alex was in my class. Graduated with Alex. Yep.
Okay, crazy. Yep. Yeah. I was right after that. And I played football.
Yeah.
All we heard was Alex Mack stories.
Yeah.
Alex would have done this. Oh yeah, man child, he would have done this.
Dude,
it's like, all right. Like
he let's see, because he came to my team. He came to the Niners for his last year. Yep.
That's awesome.
And he had worked with Shanahan in Atlanta.
That's right.
When he was on the Falcons. Yeah. Yeah, Alex, let's see. I ran into him like a few years after high school. And he was in the NFL.
Yeah. And
I appeared to be more successful than I was. So he's like, man, you're doing so great. And I was like,
you're doing great, actually.
You too, man. You too. I think like Where to Start was on MTV
Cool.
Or something.
Yeah.
Not MTV. It was like the one that played on campuses.
Yeah.
I think he just had heard that or seen it or something. But
right. It's those weird press things that like give the impression. And that's what they're for, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know. It's the trick. It's the trick, people, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're on MTV. This blog is talking about you. This is happening. Well, fuck. I might as well buy a ticket and see this band because I keep seeing them.
Yes.
Even if I haven't made an opinion myself yet, I keep seeing it. So it's worth a ticket.
And if it gets someone else to buy a ticket, that's the cool. Like, I saw this in my cafeteria and then I heard you guys were coming. And so I came.
Right.
Yeah. Like, because you obviously that's what you want, right? Just more people to come and see you and hopefully like you and listen to your stuff.
Come back. Yeah. Come back to it. That's always why.
But the facade is funny. Like, we probably I have friends who have played on late night shows that paint houses,
Totally.
And it's like, wow, you made it now. And it's like, it was awesome that, they're like, yeah, Jay Leno was cool or whatever. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, dude, I still am a German translator for this high school down the street. And, which is cool. I'd rather have music,
Totally.
I'm sure you'd rather have music in your life in some way than. Yeah.
Yeah. I talked to Kyle Nicolaitis last year.
Yeah.
He's an example of a dude who did Conan and literally put a show the following night.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yep.
That kind of thing. Like, I think that medium has been dying for a long time. It's definitely not the same.
Yeah.
It's still like maybe a pat yourself on the back kind of thing. Hey, we did it. We got to play Fallon.
Yeah.
But,
we got a good Instagram post.
Yeah. Hell of an Instagram, maybe a great TikTok,
Yes. Yeah.
But it's just not the same anymore. And then you ask yourself, people ask me all the time, like, what is moving the needle? It's like, dude, TikTok.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to do it.
No,
I know you don't want to download the app, but that's it.
Yeah.
That's the fucking game, and you have to play that game.
Yes. I wouldn't even say pushed back.
Yeah.
It's another thing where I'm like, how do I do this? How
do I start?
I feel old. Like, what do I do?
No, totally. No, dude, you just.
But I saw because like you guys had a song pulled, and you're like, "Yo, I'm not with fucking Sony." So like, yeah,
that was really annoying.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, like.
Does it give you your plays back or like the?
I don't know. The video is just muted right now, so the video still has all the plays. Nothing's happened, but it's still very strange. And TuneCore sent me like a weird DM back saying, "Well, yeah, the second phase was writers. If any writers were with Universal, they were pulling those songs now.
Yeah,
which is like." Opens the map even more for him, but I was like, not me.
You're like, I wrote it.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
I'm the only guy credited on
so
this.
So they were be almost like being overzealous with it to protect themselves.
Who knows? I feel like they're just pulling down stuff to like mess with TikTok. Or
now they're dealing with independent artists being like, hey, dude. No, please put my shit back up.
Yeah, like it was only the one song too. I was like, what the hell?
Call Me or which one?
Call Me,
yeah.
And I was like, dude, I did that. I wrote that one by myself, and like nobody else is like, there's nobody else attached to it.
Yeah,
like
certainly not Sony. They didn't call. They won't return my fucking calls. Yeah.
Dude, honestly, at this point, I don't know if I would ever do something with Sony. Like, I think that's really lame what they did.
Yeah.
It's like, if you talk to any of these labels or anything, they'll tell you like, hey, what's your TikTok strategy? What's your TikTok strategy? And they're trying to big dick and just be like, we're pulling our shit. What are you going to do about it now? Because apparently they did the same thing to YouTube back in the day. And then YouTube folded because, obviously YouTube needs it. But
yeah.
I don't know if TikTok needs it as bad as
they're kind of self-sustained.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Because there's lots of different stuff on there.
It's so weird to hear you say that. Like, what's your TikTok? Because I haven't met with labels in forever and ever and ever. But when we did early on, there was like maybe a 2-year period of showcasing for labels with Holden. And
what was that like?
Yeah, it was like, so a couple of them were like, we'd play the Roxy or the Whiskey. They'd come. Then they'd be, Jimmy was, my oldest brother was our manager at the time. But I'll tell you what it was like, but what was weird was they'd all say, oh, what was their MySpace? Oh, yeah. And they'd pull it up and be like, there's not a lot of numbers. So MySpace was a year or two into Holden, and then we took a year or two to get on MySpace because we didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So had we, for 2 years, I mean, dude, we played high schools and county fairs and shows, and like, I imagine our MySpace numbers would have been solid after 2 years of being on it, us being the road warriors we were.
Yeah.
But as far as like the shot, obviously we never got signed.
Right.
We had a small deal called, I think it was Nutcase in Japan. Cool. We never played there. They put our record in a surf magazine or something.
Oh, cool.
Which let me get to a story about that.
Yeah.
But it was kind of it. It was like, I feel like my whole, as far as like, these were major labels. So as far as like major labels go, it was a lot of like, they're good. And I think that's where it ended for them. It was like, they're good. And especially when I was, the first, I think we met with Island when I was like 17.
Wow.
And it was like, we can't wait to hear what they sound like in a couple years. And which is fine. Everything happens for a reason.
Sure.
And, I will say Island, I think it was Island specifically, and I don't remember the woman's name, but she came and saw us. This was, Holden was pretty like pop punk in the first few years, and that was big at the time.
Oh yeah.
And Johnny was cute. We had a cute guitar player, and this woman was like, I'm sending a deal over in the morning. I'm sending an offer over in the morning, rather. And we had an attorney, and she's like, all right, I'm going to send it to your attorney, blah, blah, blah. And then she got fired the next morning. The woman who was like, so honestly, I kind of count my lucky. I'm like, wasn't supposed to happen then. Like,
even if it didn't happen then, it was going to happen like 6 months from then.
And even as whatever I was, 16 or 17, I was like, all right, whatever.
Keep moving now.
We're like playing. Yeah. Let's just keep playing.
Yeah.
But really quick, and dude, I promise if you ask my therapist too, it's like I jump all over the place. If you gotta
keep going.
You gotta reel me in.
No, you're good.
So there was this little label, and I think it was Nutcase, something like that. It was a Japanese label. They put out Selling to Minors was our second CD, and it was super like Blink, Sugar. It was just kind of what we loved that shit at the time, and that's what it sounded like. Little No Effects sprinkled in.
Nice.
So it was put out in Japan. We never went over there. Maybe like 2012, 2013, the High Pilots are playing the hall. What's the big hall? Not big hall, but San Francisco.
Great American.
Great American. So we're playing there, and this Japanese dude comes up to our merch table, and he goes, were you in a band called Holden?
No way.
And I was like, yeah, did we play at your high school or something? He goes, no, I just moved here from Japan. And I was like, so how do you know Holden? He goes, I had your CD selling to minors. He goes, and your face is on it. I was like, well, my face doesn't look like that anymore. And then he said, our whole band in Japan we did Holden covers until we started writing our own songs. I was like, holy shit.
That's amazing.
I was like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I thought someone was fucking with me at first. I was like, did Michael tell you to say Holden? Like, is this a joke? Because I mean, at that point, Holden hadn't been together even, for like 6 years.
Yeah.
We hadn't been, pop punk for the last couple records were more bluesy rock as we were getting older and
trying new stuff. Yeah.
Started smoking a little weed and,
Yeah.
So, but that was a trip. I was just like, what? Oh my God. I like hugged the dude. I was like, this is amazing. Thank you. Thank you for telling me what a great story. And
man, when you start doing music for like a really long time and the decades kind of start going and people are like, oh, I used to listen to you when I was in high school. Oh, I'm like, oh, don't tell me that, dude.
Yep.
I'm only 25. I don't need to know I was like your favorite high school band. And oh, I thought you guys were going to be big. It's like, okay, well, I don't need to hear that
I don't
either.
hear that either. I still write music. Like, you can still listen to my shit.
You can still support me.
Yeah, I'm still doing it. What happened to you?
Yeah.
You're the one who fucked up.
You got older. Yeah, that was always like, or it'd be at my job. Someone would get hired and be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's you. I'm like, yeah, I work here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, what are you doing working
I thought you
here?
had it all figured out.
Yeah.
Like,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
I was talking about with my wife about this the other day. When someone's like, oh, what do you do? And you're like, I'm a musician. And like, and that's how you make your money?
Like, yeah.
That question that comes after, I'm always like, there's no other, I mean, maybe art, maybe like careers in the arts. But if someone's like, oh, I'm a dentist, I would be like, and that's your main source of income? Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do for a living. Yeah.
My wife, she was kind of like, I think people are more like, they're interested and intrigued. Like, oh, damn, you're able to blah, blah, blah. And like, and we also have our company that we run. So, no, like money's not, it's not,
Right.
It's fucking hard. Music's hard, dude. But always, like, if I did anything else, if I was a baseball player or a doctor or a lawyer, I'd have my acoustic and I'd play it at night with a glass of whiskey. Like,
totally.
For sure.
Chris Cohen, I always ask this question because Chris Cohen came on the podcast and asked me this question. It kind of blew my mind. Like, what did you think being in a band and a musician, what did you think it was before you started? And then how did that change when you actually started doing it?
Yeah.
What did you think it was?
To go back to the very beginning of what I thought it was, like not real, like unattained. Like I never saw it as something that I could do because especially like I'm a little older than you, like MTV, I had older brothers, so like it was Nirvana, it was huge, Nirvana, Chili Peppers, like these massive bands that were ubiquitous and just like so. First off, it was just like, oh, there's just this version of entertainment. It'd be like going to the movies and being like, oh, this movie's great. I'm not an actor.
I can't do that.
I won't make this. Seems like this impossible thing. And my dad had this old, I think it was Keith Moon's last tour with The Who, this epic version of Won't Get Fooled Again. And Townsend jumps high in the air, slides on his knees, does his power slide, and then breaks his guitar. And then that is in my head as a really little kid. And then watching Kurt Cobain smash his guitar, it was just like this thing I was amazed by and I didn't know. And I'll get around to, I'll reel this in. I'll land the plane.
You're good. You're good.
So first it seemed like something that was not for me. Yeah. Just something I enjoyed. And then I think it was Dude Ranch. And I was a little skater kid in Southern California. And I really related to the stupid jokes that Blink told. And they're awesome. Totally. Someone showed me, this little skater kid in the neighborhood showed me Dude Ranch. And it was in all the 411 magazine videos. So caught on to that. And then it was like seeing I'm like, oh, I kind of act like this. Like this is kind of, it kind of reeled it in a bit more. And then my brother Kevin brought home a cassette tape. And I think he was a freshman in high school and I was in 8th grade, or he was a sophomore and I was a freshman. And it was this tape and he put it in and it was this pop punk band. I was like, who's that? He said, oh, they're called Now Hiring. And I was like, okay. He goes, they're just guys from my school. And I was like, guys from your school put their music on a tape? He's like, yeah. I was like, there's guys they can, this is a thing that you can do? Yeah. Then it became more like, oh, I'm going to do that. Yeah. Like I had a guitar. I was writing some songs. I was just, and I was like, okay, time to go. Then I met the the Johnny, Paul, Dan from Livewire went into Holden. Then it was no expectation. So then as I got into it, now I'm bringing the question back, like trying to, you can edit this if you have to.
No.
Then it was like just pure fun.
Yeah.
Practice, writing, playing, all I wanted to do.
This is high school practice playing. That's all you
want to do. Correct.
Yeah.
Playing. I remember when you're in high school in Santa Barbara.
Like, what else can you do?
Yeah. And we went to San Marcos, right? We'd play at lunch. We'd play at lunch at DP. We'd play at lunch we'd go to La Colina and like Santa Barbara Junior High. And this was something my brother was like, there's already people there. Let's just ask if we can play at lunch. Santa Barbara High. And then the first time we did the county fair, it was like 1,000 people were there.
Yeah.
They were there at the fair, but they knew Holden was playing and they came. And I remember thinking like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's keep doing this.
Totally.
So it was never like, other than going back to the memory of Pete Townsend and Kurt Cobain and thinking like, that is fucking cool, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, holy shit. And then realizing like, oh, I might be able to do this. We have a band here. We have a work ethic and I think we can do this. So that was really it. I don't know at what point it morphed into like, or if it did ever get to a point where it was like, I want stadiums, I want arenas, you know, like, I love going to the Forum. I love seeing big bands. And you know, like they have, it's everything. Like you see the lights and all that. Like, fuck yeah, that'd be great. So again, I guess I thought it was sort of unattainable, unrealistic, really young, though I was really young 15 when I started traveling. Then it was like pure fun, even the hard shit. You know, running out of gas, freezing in your bus, like the school bus that we had didn't have two windows in the back didn't go down, so we got caught in a snowstorm in Atlanta, and we were just like, but I like that stuff was fun. Yeah, you know, we were young, we were laughing about it.
Space in that bus.
We had space in the bus. Yeah, farts would if someone was in the front, the fart may not make its way to the back.
Totally. Kind of lay down a little bit.
Yeah. What was the C part of the question?
Oh, and what did it turn into like later? Like, so we're getting there. It's like after you graduate high school, you're touring still. And like
then the bug was there, but Holden broke up, which I think for all of us was, you know, everyone had their own reasons. I think it was hard for all of us. I think it broke our hearts. We were down to a 3-piece the last couple years. There were the 3 of us there.
I saw you as a 3-piece. Yeah. At San Marcos at lunch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. There's a video of Does It. This song Does It. Yeah. From the quad at San Marcos. I'm like, who put this on YouTube? It sounds fucking terrible.
I was there.
It sounds awful. Yeah. That was Celise. Celise was like, come play. We're like,
oh, nice.
I moved to New York. I had this opportunity to work at a bar at Yankee Stadium, right across from the bleachers at old Yankee Stadium. Basically, the bleachers would exit into Stan's Sports Bar. So got thrust into this world of like New York firefighters who were all the bartenders there. And my friend that owned it, and that was, you know, gracious, cool enough to be like, there's not California transplants don't work here, so this is a big deal, so be on your bet, be a hard worker, blah blah blah. Yeah. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I mean, I love baseball. I love those guys. Made, you know, friends for life there. But at the end of the season, it was like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing music. Like that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And the guys that I know are in Santa Barbara, so then it was just High Pilots just kind of took off where Holden left off. Took the things we knew that worked, and
what year was that?
High Pilots formed in 2008. Okay. And I think we made Every Night our first album somewhere at the end of 2008, early 2009. Oh, okay. Michael always corrects me on this because I think I always say 2009. He goes, no, it's 2008.
Okay, 2008.
Because I got home from New York at the end of 2007. We had a cover band called Mr. Handsome. Steve was the bassist. We rehearsed in his garage, and he was the first one. I said, hey, do you want to I have songs. Do you want to play bass for them? Right. And he was like, yeah. Nice. And Michael was there rehearsing with us. He lived in San Francisco and went to City College up there, and was like, holy shit, is a band forming? And then he left college and came down. Aaron Ray drummed with us for the first year.
The great Aaron Ray.
Man.
What a drummer.
Holy shit. Yeah. He was like...
Everyone knew him in town. Was like, we were so... the fucking guy.
His whole, like, the family, everything that came with, like, Aaron and the Ray family is so amazing. Our first tour as the High Pilots, they gave us our electric acoustic to use on stage. the van. They let us use their van. Aaron is such a good fucking drummer.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was like subduing him, like, yeah, it's like Tom Petty, like, just, but then there'd be space for him to do shit live in the middle of the show. And I'd just be like, just go.
Yeah. Kill it.
And then that ran, that sucked too. It always sucks when like, you either, however it happens that someone leaves a band. Him and Michael were really close.
Yeah.
Michael lived with him and his family for a bit before, like at the end of high school or something, or the beginning of college. And then Matt Palermo, who drummed for this band Ludo, who I had met when I was in Holden. That was a big shift because not just musically, the music was always evolving, and Pimo's an outstanding fucking drummer in his own right. Like, lucky dude, I've drummed with Dan, or played with Dan and Aaron Ray. And TJ, who drummed with Holden for one tour, the school bus tour, which lasted 8 months. And then Pimo is his own beast. So I always had these great drummers. But Pimo came from a band that did get signed to a major and did, sell a decent amount of records. I
saw Ludo on public access television on World Cafe in Santa Barbara.
No shit.
Yeah.
God,
I wonder what they had that weird channel in Santa Barbara, and they had a music show on there.
Yep.
And you could call in. We used to call in high school because we were bored. But I saw Ludo on there.
They must have been.
I just
stayed with us.
them.
I wonder if that was. Oh my gosh, because they also filmed this video
2006.
Yeah,
2005. Maybe.
So it was probably before we knew them.
Before they even signed or anything. Because I remember that name because they were tight. They were like, I was like, oh, this is actually a good band on this local channel for once.
Super weird, quirky pop. The singer is like a Mensa kid, like super smart, and so his lyrics are like, sometimes I'm like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? How did you do that? Like, how did you get to this? It's like, oh yeah, these buddies are driving to a lake, and then there's the lizard comes out of the lake to eat them, and they're trying to get crawfish. I'm like, he's a great, brilliant dude. Yeah. But I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not like they're not heartbreak. He's not writing heartbreak.
Yeah. It's like I can't do that. Yeah.
Much respect, but so. Pimo came with such like a business sense, like not like it's all business, but it was like, hey, let's do the things that worked for Ludo.
Yeah.
And not musically or anything, just, we got signed, we did this thing, and then that, and then boom, boom, boom. And their keyboardist, Tim, who started this label Redbird and then wound up managing us for a few years. Then it was like maybe a little more. Nothing. There was never like any intention in songwriting. We were always writing what we were going to write. That's why Pimo wanted to drum with us. Tim wanted to manage us. There's never a push to like sound anyway. But I think then there was probably a couple years that we spent like we had the Where to Start thing. We pushed that, and it got onto the MTVU. Different blogs, things like that. We had a press person out of St. Louis. Ludo was out of St. Louis, so a lot of the stuff we did came out of there naturally. One of my favorite recording studios in St. Louis. That's where I'm planning to do some of this new stuff. So
you could say he brought in like a bit of professionalism almost.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't think that's a bad. I don't think that's a bad way to put it.
It's definitely not a bad thing. But it's like something. Every artist has to like learn at some point, especially after doing like as many tours you've done or as many tours that I've done now. Like, how can we just make this tighter and better? And it's like, get the fucking hotel. We're not sleeping in the van, like that kind of thing. Yes. Like each tour gets a little bit better.
Oh, absolutely, yep.
With someone like him, where he already saw the next level.
Yeah.
It's like a quarterback who went to the Super Bowl already. Now he's on a team that's never won before. It's like, okay, you know how to do the thing.
Yes.
Can you show us how you get there?
Yes.
Like, because we haven't gotten to that next level yet.
That's a great way to put it. And there was certainly some of that. Absolutely. And we all loved each other. It wasn't like some hard ass, New York manager coming in,
but
being
more
like,
knowledge.
Change your shirt, comb your hair. Yes, more knowledge. Great way to put it. The Super Bowl that had been there. Yeah, the guy that had been there.
He'd been there already. Yeah,
they did it, and it was funny. Like I think they were doing. I saw them the night they did Leno.
Mm-hmm.
And they did their some after party thing, right? At the Roosevelt, some cool, whatever.
Oh,
some hip
hotel in downtown.
Some hip LA spot.
Yeah.
Also the night I met Matt Wallace, though, which wound up being a really cool friendship. He's a producer. He did the Ludo's, their first major label album, and then their second major label album, which I played bass on. But Matt, to back up a little bit, Matt Wallace's coolest thing was he, I think I'm getting this right. Like he came up with Faith No More. They're all from the Bay. And I think the first Faith No More album was essentially done like in a room like this at Matt's parents' house.
Wow.
I think I'm right.
You think?
Matt,
Yeah.
Text me if I got that wrong. The garage, something like that. But yeah, then I guess he went out, they were shopping or something, producers for that. I think they'd been signed to Island and Def Jam at that point. Matt flew. Ludo was smart. They sell out the pageant in St. Louis, which is 2,500 people. So they said, if labels want to come see us, they have to fucking fly out and see us play to this crowd singing. Smart, really smart. And I think with Wallace, who's such a genuine, he probably like, I'll fly out, no problem. Like, they also covered Epic. Ludo used to cover Epic by Faith No More. Anyways. Dude, ranting.
Won him over.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they for sure won over Matt. And then Matt did a lot of our album Only Human, and then other stuff we never released.
Totally.
Yeah. So
I don't know if that could work here. Like, you got to fly out to Santa Barbara. You got to see this crowd go mild for us.
Oh, right. I know.
It's just the classic Santa Barbara crowd. And I love it. I think the Santa Barbara crowds are getting so much better now. Like, people go crazy.
Hell yeah.
But for years and years and years, it's like, even their fucking friends, they'd be like, cool, yeah, good song.
Man,
dude, why you guys have to be so? This has to be the toughest crowd.
It's
just get people to the club.
Yes,
and then for you to go crazy.
Well, I remember even like when we would do like, because Holden would do well at Soho. Yeah, and we did some events where we would like rent the Victoria Theater and have free boot. Like whatever. Like we tried to make it a whole thing, do a charity thing, and like work with the Unity Shop, which was always cool. But oh my God, almost 20 years ago. So I'm 37. So like we're 18, 19. Johnny and Dan might be 20. We pack Soho and it'd go nuts, right? High Pilots, everyone's in their mid-20s. Some people have kids. It was great. We could pack it. But there was a little bit of that, come on, fuckers, dance. Yeah, it's music.
Do something.
No one's looking at you. They're looking at us. And that sounds weird, but like, what I mean? It was
like that back then.
Yeah. There's this sense, dude, I mean, I went to the Killers will never ever play Santa Barbara again.
Oh no.
Because, I mean, I'm assuming this. Oh. Because after their third record, Day and Age, came out, they played at the Bowl, and we happened to, our friend's girlfriend was the hostess at Joe's Cafe, and she's like, hey, no one's in here except the Killers. I just sat them for breakfast. And we're like, fuck yeah. So we just drove down there. Yeah. We just drove down. She sat us right next to them. And they get up, and I just say something to Brandon. I was like, hey man, I just saw you guys at Coachella. It was unbelievable. Yeah. Like, what a leap from the first, like just something. Sure. I didn't say I was a musician. I wasn't trying to be cool. And then he like totally walked up, like didn't sit with us, but asked if we needed tickets. And we said, no, we already had them. Later, I found out that whoever he had given tickets to got to go backstage. So kind of bummed. But he said,
just say yes.
I know. I know, exactly.
The future for anyone listening, just say yes.
Yes, please. So I could see it. He's like, they won't let us do fireworks tonight. I was like, right, because our town catches on fire all the time. He goes, but it's going to be even better than Coachella. So, oh my God, they're like 4 songs in. He goes, we're not used to people sitting down, guys. Like, what is this? Yeah. And after they did a 1-song encore, they did When You Were Young, and he didn't stay out there to finish with the band. And I've never seen him do that. Yeah. He like put the mic down and walked off stage.
Like, fuck this.
So, and I was like, this is Santa Barbara. This is like, it's, I'm not going to shit on Santa Barbara.
No.
I love it.
And we're talking about that show, that crew back then.
Yes.
Santa Barbara's very, I walk around Santa Barbara, I don't fucking recognize anyone.
Yeah.
It's like all my friends either got priced out or moved out. It's like, this is not the same people we're even talking about anymore. Yep. It's a whole different crew out here.
So 2 years, to put a pin on that, a bow on that story, 2 or 3 years later, I was in Chicago working on music with a buddy, and like he had the new Rolling Stone, and it was like not the cover, but it said like something about the Killers' new album. I was like, oh, cool. So I read this little blurb, and it was their 4th album. He goes, yeah, we had just finished this show in Santa Barbara that sucked. And we sat in our bus and finished Runaways. And I was like, oh my God, I know exactly what show that was, and they're never going to fucking come back here.
Damn it, man. Yeah. I talked to Mac DeMarco one night in LA, and he said the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, you should come play in Santa Barbara. He's like, oh, last time I went, they hated me. And I was like, no, dude, it's just low energy. Like, I don't know.
It's a small,
we're out all day. We're day drinking all day. And then we show up to the show.
Small beach town.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I got to go to the Foo Fighters a couple months ago.
Oh, that like right before, surprise.
Yeah. I got lucky enough. Lauren came. She's like fucking 8 months pregnant.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like that was like, killed it.
Yeah.
Crowd killed it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's Dave Grohl up there, you know, and like
Chris Shiflett.
It's Shiflett too, right? Local boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is weird. And like I went to this is going to sound so funny. My favorite show I've ever seen at the Bowl, that Foo Fighter show was pretty fun, was James Taylor and Carole King with my mom like 15 years ago. And I talk about a sellout crowd who's not there to go nuts. They're just there. I'm just there. You know, I'm probably 25 at the time. There's not a lot of 25-year-old dudes there.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. I was just like, oh my God. It just sounded like, I love James Taylor. I love Carole King.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the best show I've seen here yet. And I'd seen the Strokes there.
Yeah.
And,
I recently saw the Strokes and I was like, this is okay.
Okay now.
And like, I love them. Mm-hmm. It's just Julian's onstage banter. I was like asking people around me, I was like, is he drunk?
Sober. No.
Yeah, and he's sober.
No, he's just
weirdo.
Yeah, yes. For lack of a better term.
In a good way. Yeah. In a very good way.
Yep.
But I was just like, oh man, the band's so tight and everything sounds so tight. But
he will
derail the show though.
Yep. He'll talk for 15
stop
minutes.
Stop talking. Just play the next song.
Dude.
Everyone's like, yeah, this is his thing. He does this. I'm like, oh.
Yep.
But I saw the Yeah that same festival, and they were so tight and so good. And I was like, man.
Awesome.
So
where was that at?
Funny. This was in Salt Lake City.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, at that Kilby Court Fest.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And it was just undeniable lineup because I don't go to festivals unless the lineup is like undeniable.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck, I'm gonna see the Pixies, Pavement, all these bands at once. Okay, we're flying to Salt Lake.
Yep. God, I remember doing like I think we were at the first, not playing, we were on tour, and then we didn't drive to Reno because someone said, "Oh, Outside Lands." Oh, it's like Wilco, Beck.
Yeah.
Petty.
Oh, that first year.
And I was like, we were just like, we called. It wasn't going to be like some big deal in Reno, so we just called them and told them our van broke down on the way.
Yeah.
We're not going to remember us, and they're not going to, But
Reno's changed so much too. The place doesn't even exist.
Yeah. So we got to go to that first one, and
I went Friday night to that.
On the first Outside
Lands?
Just
to see Radiohead, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Oh,
yeah.
Man.
That was like In Rainbows had just come out.
And they were still doing stuff off the bends. Yeah, it was
really cool.
We came up, we literally walked in, I think right when Beck started. And then so it was just like Beck and Radiohead now. It's the first night I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, me and my friend, that was his graduation present was tickets. We got a day. He only got a one day ticket for me and him.
Yeah.
And he went to go see Beck and he said like people were fucking with the guardrail and then like got knocked over. And I was like, I just committed to the one stage just to see Radiohead.
Yeah.
So I missed all that. Yeah.
So you remember the sound cutting out?
For Radiohead? Yeah.
It did it for Tom Petty also.
No way.
Yes. I don't know if Petty was
they hadn't dialed it in yet.
Yeah. No, they're out there. There's this huge... What was cool about the Petty set was... Dude, he was so mellow. He's such a cool dude.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, we'll be right back. We're going to let him figure this out.
Yeah.
And I think the band could hear themselves, but I think...
With the in-ears.
And I think the sound... I'm sure once the sound drops, you can still notice it.
Yeah.
So they left. Steve Winwood played that day, but he didn't do Give Me Some Lovin'. He didn't do Can't Find My Way Home. And people were like, why didn't you play? Those are massive songs.
Yeah.
So they had some plan ultimately, but they go backstage to let the sound people fix the sound. They come out with Steve Winwood and they go straight into
nice.
Give me some love.
Yeah.
And it was just like revived.
That's so cool.
And then it was like another hour. They did a few more Steve Winwood songs, a Traveling Wilbury song with him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
It was outstanding.
It's moments like that where I just tell myself, I'm just gonna buy the tickets.
Yeah.
Because I waited too long for Petty. I never saw him. And there's so many artists. I'm like, next time. And then you realize, oh no, those artists that we love and we grew up with, they are starting to go away.
Yes.
And it sucks. And it's like, I gotta go see Dylan.
Yep.
Like now I'm like, fuck. Hopefully Bob Dylan tours again, and I'm just gonna pay whatever it is to go see him.
I never saw Prince and I never saw Bowie.
Never saw Prince. Never saw Bowie. Yeah, both of those dudes like stopped touring.
Man, I
seen
saw
Paul.
Dylan. You saw Paul?
I've seen Paul like 3 times now.
Yeah. I got to do the Pappy and Harriet's.
Oh yeah, I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, for so many reasons, that'll just be the greatest concert I've ever been to. I mean, he was this close.
Yeah.
And he did a 22 song set. And
awesome.
I mean, we went down there with fucking fire in our eyes. My brother and I, Kevin, one of my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So we had an uncle that lived in Palm Springs, and he called me at like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, it's on the news that Paul McCartney's playing at Pappy and Harriet's. You guys should drive down to the valley and down here and try and get in. And we looked at each other and we're just like, it was just first come, first serve.
Sure.
And then once it opened at 7 or 8 p.m., it's $50 to get in.
Yeah.
But it's only 300 cap. He played inside.
Sure. Yeah, for people who don't know, it's like a small bar.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, the room's about this big, and then it backs up a little bit to a bar area, right? So we're like, my brother will never be held back by a velvet rope if he can help it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, we're going to go to an ATM. I'm going to pull money out. We're just going to go and see what we can do.
Yeah.
So by the time we get there, like the way people are putting it, like, oh, the news crews are already gone. Like thousands of people have walked up and left. Oh. And you know, because there's already 300 people got there in line probably by 7 a.m.
Yeah.
We didn't get down there until 4 p.m., 3 p.m. But like, you know, no harm, no foul. We'll see our grandma if we don't get in.
Yeah.
And so pulled out a certain amount of money. We start at the front of the line. Tell us how much you want to buy you out. We get some booze, and I look right at this one guy. I'm like, then don't move. You don't have to boo us. We're not taking your spot. We're not kicking you out of the line. So there's these two sweet, like older women and older, like 60s, maybe like mid 60s. And this is between the two old cello weekends, right? Where Paul's playing both weekends.
Yeah, old cello. Fuck.
And so they say, what do they say? Like, well, how much? We're like, you tell us. You know, we didn't want to say any certain amount or whatever. She goes, well, let us think about it. We're like, okay. Or maybe we she goes, well, we just saw him last weekend. We're seeing him next weekend. And I was like, yeah, they don't even open the doors for 3 hours also. Yeah, and then he's not on for another hour and a half. And they were like, yeah, I mean, that is something to consider. I feel kind of bad because I was kind of like nudging.
No, they saw him twice.
And they saw him. And so Kevin and I walk away for a few minutes. Like, we're like, let him think about it. And then like, we're going to walk away for a few minutes. We turn around and they go, okay, honey, hold on. $300 each.
Nice.
And we're like, deal.
Really? Yeah. Oh,
cash,
good.
boom, boom. Kevin had it. Gave it to them. Got in line. The guy that booed me earlier gave me a hug inside while we were watching Paul. I mean, dude, and then it's $50 at the door. $350 to see Paul McCartney. Yeah. There's no stage inside.
No.
There's bike racks between us and him. He high-fived me at one point.
No way.
He looked me right in the... I mean, he did... I was just like, this must be like the Cavern Club. Like seeing the Beatles at the Cavern Club. Like, yeah, there's like Emma Stone over there, the Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age right there, you know, who probably didn't have to wait in line all day. No, they just showed up in their black SUV behind the bar, but got the poster and a t-shirt, which they only had them that night. So like we have this really rare like merch from it. And
sweet.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Have you been to the Cavern Club?
No, I've never been over there.
Oh yeah, nope. Me neither. I've never even been over there.
I've never been there. The only place I've been is Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you play shows or just for?
I did. Dan and I did. I keep pointing at the drums when I say Dan. Dan, where are you?
This represents Dan. Dan has been on the show.
Yes.
Dan Moore, because he worked on Harry Nilsson's Lost and Found record, and I'm just obsessed with that. And I was like, dude, he posted it on his Instagram. I was like, tell me everything you need to know.
Talk with me about this. Yeah.
So
Dan
early episode of the pod.
Yes, I watched it.
Nice.
Dan works with this producer in LA. The guy who did the remixed Harry's stuff. Harry, like I know him. Harry Nilsson stuff. But they did this record for this guy, Barry LaFair, this German dude, kind of like, it's actually pretty cool. It's like rock and roll.
Cool.
It's very like, he has songs called like #rock and roll. It's like, you know, there's but Barry can really like, he can really sing, and Dan drummed on it. And so twice in 2019, he wanted Dan to fly out to play this big Dusseldorf show he was doing, like a CD release or something. And he was like, do you know any bass players? And so Dan is like, I want to put this on your radar. I was like, how many songs do I have to learn? He's like, probably like 25. I was like, send him over. Send him to me.
Yeah.
Learned him. Got to go. Then he did another show like in October that year and flew us back out for it. Wow. And Dusseldorf is, I don't have a lot of reference to like the UK or anything, but or not just Europe. Lots of parts of it. But Dusseldorf, really dude, oh my God. There's just like, it's cobblestone alleyways and like the alleyways are super narrow, and it's just like restaurant, bar, music.
Oh, nice.
There was like a French dude like smoking on stage and singing, and he got off stage. He's like old French James Brown, and band was playing. He's holding out his tip cup. I'm like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, hell yeah. So
that's just like,
and that was because of Dan.
The beauty of music, like where it will take you.
Yep.
That you wouldn't have gone I wouldn't have, decided to go to these places if it wasn't for music.
Yeah.
That's
or
wild.
even like you say, like go like to take a trip to Liverpool. We would go there because of music.
Even
if we weren't playing it, we'd be like, I'm going to go there because of the music that I love.
need to see these things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to stand there and look at this.
I know. I'm curious
house.
I mainly asked because I was curious how big the cavern room is.
I don't know. I think it's small.
I bet it fits. Yeah. I bet it fits like 100 people. Probably.
I know that Steve's dad, Steve, our friend and bass player.
Yeah.
Forever. His dad came down for the Super Bowl. So I get to see his parents a lot.
Yeah.
He goes once a year for a work thing. And he stays I think he stays another week, does Liverpool, goes to Scotland and Ireland, did the Scotch Trail in Scotland, try all the scotches and everything. But yeah, he's I believe he's been in the Cavern Club.
Cool.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Super jealous.
That's awesome. I saw Steve 2015.
Yeah.
And I don't think he remembered me.
Were you in Seattle?
Yeah. I played the crocodile.
Yeah.
And I was like, Steve, I gave him like energy, like I know you.
Yes.
He's like, hey.
He was working. Was he working at the time?
He was working. Yeah. He was work mode, but also I was like, oh, he probably doesn't remember.
He was working at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how long he worked there. So after
so like 2015,
yeah, for sure, he was there. Now he's in Spokane.
Oh, okay, cool.
So when he moved up there, we got our new bass player. Before we changed the band name, we went and played up there, and stayed with Steve. Steve obviously knew we were coming, but to bring it back to San Marcos, we're standing outside the Crocodile, and Aaron Solis walks by, and he goes, "Hey." I was like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I don't know if he was up there for a football game or what he was doing up there, but yeah. So then Steve was like, we were leaving, and he's like, "I'll get you in, Aaron. Come inside."
Way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Solis, oh man, last time I saw Solis was like 2009.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe 2010, and I had just like graduated. But I was cutting through the school because I didn't want to like walk around the whole. I was just like walking in and out or something. Yeah. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "I'm cutting through the school because I don't want to walk." He's like, "You can't do that."
It's like on a school day.
You're 19. Yeah. There's like they're in class.
Yep.
He's like, "You're an adult and you can't be here." I was like, "Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll walk out. I'm sorry."
Oh man. Yeah. A weekend. You can
do that.
Yeah.
You can
my in-laws live right across the street, so we'll walk in there sometimes. But I talk to Solis weekly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every 2 weeks. Awesome. Yeah, we at least a text message about something. Well, High School Nation. So Michael and I
let's talk about that. Yeah,
so Michael and I were touring, and Jimmy and Kevin, who started High School Nation, it kind of the idea came about because Holden, the long tour that we did in the school bus, it was like 8 months. Jimmy had, we played San Marcos, played all these schools around here, and then he's like, "Why don't we just go play high schools everywhere? Go play at lunch." And then to top it off, let's reach out to venues and say like, "Hey, we're playing every high school in town this week. If it's first of 6, just throw us on a bill Friday or Saturday night." So that's how, first off, we're playing these high schools, and it worked out. I mean, we were on the road from September to like April. The only reason we came back was because the school bus was going to die. Otherwise, we would have stayed out another month.
Yeah.
And it was, we were at a high school every day. There were promoters at venues on some places, just be like 80 people checked in the door for you guys.
Yeah.
Or like
these all ages
went and
shows.
Played all ages shows. And so we played every high school. And then what we would do after school is we would go to the mall, split up into twos with headphones, because people were still buying CDs.
Yeah.
So we called it 10 a day. Try to sell 10 CDs a day after we play the school, walk through a mall and just, "Hey, do you guys like rock music?" We'd find like the Hot Topic kids or whatever, Abercrombie, like whoever was just young and walking around. Play them a song. If they liked it, we'd be like, "Here's our story. We're on the road. CDs, $10. And we'd have to sell 10 a day."
Yeah.
So we called it 10 a day. Black Fridays were nuts. We sold like 100 and something in Dallas and Fort Worth one night.
Wow.
Mall security too. You got to avoid.
Yeah.
It's like a video game.
Yeah, totally.
Or the paper. You're avoiding mall security because they will kick you out.
Yeah, totally.
So from the idea of, at the time, let me get it right. At the time, music and arts programs were being defunded.
Sure.
Right. So Jimmy thought like, well, here's this like opportunity to bring bands to schools. They're trying, without like paying for, not that Instagram or anything was around yet, but like, here's an audience. Your audience is here. These are teenagers. We're non-threatening. We're music. Can we come play music at your school? So the early sort of version of High School Nation was like not even really a stage. It was like a PA, 4 or 5 bands. And then some sort Guitar Center came on early. DW came on early. Like, we'll give a drum kit to the school. We'll give, like, these companies have, like, they all have stuff to give.
Sure.
And they want to, it helps high schools.
Yeah. They all have excess stock.
Yeah.
That they need to, like, we're not selling this kit. You know what I mean? Like,
You guys don't have the budget for this. We want people to play music. So from now it's called, principals call it Schoolcella. Because at some point we've had 2 stages.
Wow.
Hollister Clothing was a title sponsor. They have a huge activation where their kids are making t-shirts and doing art or putting tie-dye paint on vinyls and getting all this stuff to go home with. We'll have a bunch of unknown acts or lesser known acts. And then we've had it's funny, people that these kids like Drake Bell from the show Drake and Josh.
Drake Campagna.
Yeah, I didn't know. See, I had Saved by the Bell.
Totally.
But that's what my brother, when he first said Drake Bell's headlining it, I was like, who's that? He's like, it's Zach Morris.
Oh, totally.
To these kids.
Yeah, yes.
I was like, okay. So, Drake headlined it. Who else? One of the Black Eyed Peas did it. This is all before Michael and I are really involved.
Yeah.
Because we were touring. But Jimmy and Kevin really picked it up. Like I said, Guitar Center came on. The Truth Initiative, which is like anti-smoking, anti-vaping. Schools obviously love that. And they just all these people just give stuff to schools. And then because of, the donation, we're sending them speakers and MacBooks and Pro Tools. And so it's like, yes, we're taking over campus for 2 hours, but you're not paying $1. We're going to send you this. Schools obviously say no. Plenty of schools say no.
Sure.
But the ones that, we have great relationships across the country now because of what Kevin and Jimmy started almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
Maybe 18 years ago. And now post-COVID, we're getting the first tour back out. So I'd hit up Celise, who every time we've had something, it's never the stars have never aligned to do it. I'm really hoping, knock on wood, that we get to do the big event at San Marcos before the school year's up.
That'd be great.
So we'll see. It'd be awesome. It'd be cool. I'll tell you because yes, you're an adult now, but if you're not if you want to cruise up, we'll get
Okay, get me a badge that says, hey, this.
And then you can also see what High School Nation kind of looks like.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. I think nothing motivates people to play music more than a band. No one gets me more hyped to write something than a great song.
Yep.
I think high school band, the high school band that you signed up for is super dated. It was
the band, like
the class.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't relate to it. Drums are, I played drums in it, so it was an afterthought. It was all about the clarinets, the flutes, trying to get them to sound good.
And are you playing an individual drum?
Playing a single snare.
Yeah.
Maybe you're playing a kit, but it's all about seeing a band. They're, I want to do that. I can do that.
Yes.
Or bass in the high school band is kind of a couple notes here. It's it's not nearly as fun. It is fun if you're really in the drum line, which I was in the drum line, but nothing motivates more than just seeing a live show.
Seeing it. Yeah. And the thing that clicks in your brain. And I think all of us have it. Everyone all of us musicians that want to tour and are crazy enough to do that. It's because we, because we saw something that just was that's it. I'm ruined. I'm ruined forever.
Totally.
This is it.
Totally.
It's funny. At La Colina, did you go to La Colina?
No, it's La Cumbra.
La Cumbra. Okay. So I went to La Colina and I was a theater kid. So I wanted to get in the musical theater class, but I couldn't. And so for 2 days I was like, I'll do band, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I'm in band, and the second day they were like, hey, we cleared, not cleared a spot, no one got kicked out, but they knew I really wanted to do it. Yeah. They found a spot for me.
Nice.
So I was never in band other than for 2 days. And I remember even who was, I don't even remember the teacher's name. It's so long ago, but he was like, why were you here for 2 days? I was like, I didn't mean to waste your time, dude. I just sat in the back. I would love to know, sax and violin are 2 instruments. I would love to know how to play.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
it's hard. I tried to do sax once, but you can't like practice.
So you're not
it.
really playing it in the music video, is what you're saying?
No, that was my buddy sax, and like awesome, I was able to like make a couple noises. Yeah.
Yep.
But when I was like trying to learn in high school, I was like, oh, and you can't really practice. It's loud.
Yeah.
Super loud versus a guitar where you don't have to plug the amp in.
Yeah. Or you have an acoustic
just strum
in your
away.
room.
Yeah, you're just strumming away, and it's not really bothering anyone. Drums, you can't really practice unless you have like, a garage or something, a soundproof room.
Yep.
But you can still do all the rudiments. You can still do that like on a pillow.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the only way. And then I took lessons at Mike's drum shop.
Nice. Yeah.
So that was like huge for me as a kid. And I'm so sad there's nothing like that in town. One, there's no drum shop here. So it's like everything you have to order is on fucking Amazon.
Yep.
And then two, there's no community like that for drummers in town.
But
is there enough drummers in town to support something like that? Is the second question I have. Like,
it was God, I mean, to go back to like even like the living room and the coach house.
I was gonna mention that you said that you played the living room, and that was like I never played there. I never even saw it. It was gone before. I was like
the coach house too.
Coach house, okay.
I mean, living room was it was like the punk rock,
right?
Or like scene, spot. And
at the drive-in played there,
dude. At the drive-in, AFI, Jimmy Eat World. We played once with Yellow Card and the Jesse from Operation Ivy. Jesse Michaels?
Yes, Yellow Card played San Marcos.
And Yellow Card played San Marcos. Yeah. Man, and like, cause Numbskull Eddie would do shows there. And I feel so bad. I tried to think of his name earlier. He just put his heart and soul in the living room, and I know he was trying to.
Oh, Jeffrey Thymer.
Well, there's Jeff Thymer. Do you say Thymer? I've always called him Jeff Thymer.
Oh, it might be Thymer.
Okay.
But I see the H, so I just...
Alan. I think his name was Alan.
Oh, Alan.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen Alan in years.
Yep. I think he even went to like county and like tried to tell people, not county jail, like to the to people.
Went to the county jail, recruited some inmates.
I think he was trying to get the living room back up and running. And
I remember, they were really pushing.
Yeah, we were pretty fortunate. I mean, this is the second time. Oh, I don't need to. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just Kevin. Kevin. I'll call you later. But
yeah, they were really pushing like 2012 maybe. They were really trying to push open, get the living room back.
God, and even that was so long that they were trying to get it back with a big push was even that long ago. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's so long ago.
We were really fortunate at that. Like, God, because who was all from here? Like the Ataris lived here for a while.
Yeah.
Yellow Card, I think they're from Florida, but they lived in Ventura for a bit.
Okay.
Staring Back, I think Slimer. Yeah. This is all. Even like Slimer was a little older than me. That was like Sean Daly, who he was in the band Bright Life for a bit that we would play with a bit. They kind of became like Santa Barbara Big Brother band. Tim Lopez went on to the Plain White Tees.
Oh, nice.
I talked to Tim all the time. But there was this scene, and obviously I'm not a high school student. I'm not even a college student in Santa Barbara. But like, is there a scene here? I mean, is there a place for kids? Teenage bands to play?
Teenage bands? I have no idea.
Yeah. God, it just like, it breaks my heart.
Do bands even play lunch anymore?
Or are kids starting bands?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know here. I know in other places, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
But not here. I don't know if here.
There's plenty of other places where there's less to do.
Yeah.
Like, you've toured through a lot of places like that, I'm sure, where it's like, no, I have a guitar and we're starting a band.
Yeah.
And here it's like, oh, like I surf, I ride horses, I rock climb.
It's all in IV, right?
That's what the music stuff is?
Because that's where all these kids are all coming from. And they're coming from their own little small towns. And they're 18 and they're young.
Yes.
And they'll start a band because, you give your preferences. I play music. I want to be in the dorm with other musicians. So good. Now, great. This guy plays drums and they all kind of meet each other. And so every time I see a new band or if there's like a young band playing in Santa Barbara, it's always, oh yeah, we met in IV and then we went through like 10 different bands.
Right.
And now the ones who were really serious, now we're this band.
Yeah. Okay.
Queen Tide's like that. Like they're a great band.
Okay.
They don't live here anymore, but they did and they're from UCSB.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to write that down.
They're cool.
That. Okay. And then I think I did an acoustic set. It was for Sonos or something, but family band. And I know Ethan because I grew up with his brother Caleb. Awesome guys. Caleb. Awesome guys. We're friendly.
Sure.
Every time I see, it's always such a pleasure to see them. I don't talk to them enough.
Yeah.
But family band was cool.
Yeah.
And they were IV, right?
They were IV.
Yeah.
The singer of family band's doing really well. He has a project called Denim.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like reggae sublime-ish. It's really cool.
Cool. I'll check that out too.
But yeah, it's just, there's There's a lot of bands like I don't know, but Santa Barbara's like waves. It comes in waves. Like you were saying, like the crowds are different when we were younger than they are now, and the bands are different now, and it just changes. It's just yeah.
Well, it's funny.
Now people call me legend, and I hate that.
Nice.
It's just a new word for old.
I like it. Hey, but it's better.
It's better than being like,
because legends never die.
That's right.
Well, it's interesting to think, because I hadn't thought about all this stuff in a while, especially living. I mean, Newbury Park. I'm not that far.
Right.
My dad still lives where I lived in high school.
Sure.
My in-laws are across the freeway from him.
Nice.
I just love it.
I love that part.
I just love it here too.
Yeah.
Like it's just, there's really, when you grow up here, you're really kind of spoiled. Like even if you don't have money, like which we didn't growing up, like you're still spoiled in Santa Barbara. When you learn to appreciate it.
And you got that experience when you were 15 getting out of here.
Got out. Yeah.
Like I didn't realize that until I was 20 and I started touring when I was like 20.
When you see Lawrence, Kansas one too many times.
Shout out to Lawrence, man. I fucking love Lawrence.
I love it too.
Yeah. Getting to Lawrence.
Getting to Lincoln. I like Lincoln too.
Dude,
the people there are awesome.
I love Lincoln, Nebraska.
Knickerbockers. You ever play Knickerbockers?
We haven't.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it's still there.
We were just driving through because we had to get to Michigan, and we're like, well, there's Lincoln. I've never been to Lincoln. There's probably food there. And it was like Saturday. It was game day.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
ESPN.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
It's a whole universe.
I was like, this is amazing. It's the greatest place ever.
Yep.
On a Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like during the rest of the week.
I want to say we did one or two, because we played there quite a bit. Lincoln and Omaha.
Oh, nice.
Omaha was cool because they were closer to stuff. I mean, Lincoln, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's no stuff in between anywhere.
No.
You're like, there's hours of not stuff.
It smells
just flat.
Really bad.
There's some interesting
It's just all
smells.
cows. Like, it's just, yeah.
But we definitely did one or two shows at Knickerbockers where we played more than that there. That was like the venue we'd play at when we go to town. But we did one or two that just fell on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it was 40 degrees outside. And 17 people were there,
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
you tell me that, like, hey, I'll take it. I'll take that.
Yeah. And you love the shit out of those 17 people,
totally.
and they were there every time. But going to places like that, and the big wake up call for me was the drive through the water, the drive to Ventura, the water. Right? For some reason, as a little kid, because we had
normalized.
We left LA
in
'89. So I grew up, I was 3. So Santa Barbara, but we'd go to LA for Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that stuff. And I would just hate that part of the drive as a kid, always. I just had no idea how good I had that 20 minutes of my life until we're out in, we're on the school bus tour, the big long tour, like the first time I was gone for a very, very long time. And we drive back across the country, barely can shut off the bus because the guy, this mechanic who went to church with Johnny's family was like, we'd call him, be like, hey, it's doing this. Be like, oh, it was diesel. and so you had to let these glow plugs warm up before you started the car.
Yeah.
And we would tell him it was taking like an hour or 2 hours to warm up now. It's like frozen. We're in Annapolis, Maryland. He goes, how much longer is your tour? We're like 3-4 weeks. He goes, can you not finish it and just drive home, because I don't know how much longer your bus is going to live. So we basically, all right, wake up Easter morning. It was Easter morning, and drive home without stopping, all the way from East Coast all the way to Santa Barbara. Yeah. We run out of money and credit cards, debit cards. Like TJ finished his, credit card getting gas in like Palm Springs or something. We get to Denny's in Thousand Oaks, where now I live across the freeway from.
Right.
So we sleep in the Denny's parking lot because it's a 24-hour place, and you can sleep in the parking lots, or at least you could then.
Can then,
So
I think Walmart's the only place that lets you do that now.
Yeah. So TJ's girlfriend, now wife, came down in the morning, and I want to say she put some gas in. So everyone's just dead. Everyone's asleep in the back. I drove the rest of the way, come down the grade, get to the water. The sun is coming up, and I was just like, my God.
Yeah, we did it.
And just looking, I mean, seeing it for the first time like that, and I looked at him like, I will never hate this drive again.
No, yeah.
All the shit we just did and went through and over, so I love that part of the drive.
I just did that, like end of last year.
Yeah.
Like the last show of the tour was Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
Or
dude,
Amherst.
How about tours starting or ending on the other side of the country? I know.
And I was telling the agent, I was like, can you book us something?
Yeah.
He's like, Thanksgiving, it's that
There's
week.
Nothing.
It's like, you're not going to book shit. I'm like, all right. So for Thanksgiving week, I was like, well, we got 3 days to make it back for home.
Yep.
It's like it's jingle all the way, you know?
Yes. Yep.
And it was awesome. It was such a good feeling.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, we did it.
Oh my gosh.
Wednesday night. It's basically midnight.
Yeah.
Like
and
it's basically.
And I'm gonna watch football tomorrow, and I'm gonna
do nothing.
Yes, and do nothing.
And hope to God my van's okay.
Yeah.
I'm driving 3 days straight.
Gosh. Dude, we did that a handful of times. The tour either ended or started.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Ours started. It started on the East Coast, and it was perfect for the headliner.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
a great route for them.
And of course,
home,
and of course, you're happy to play to
I'll take
crowds and cool theaters,
cool theaters, and you're like, wow, this is awesome. I haven't been to any of these places
good
before.
sound. Oh, it's so nice to be on stage.
Professionalism.
Oh my god, I remember the first time we played like a
competent sound.
Like, oh, dude, it's so much. What a difference! Like the first time we played, I don't know if it was Holden or if it was the High Pilots, where it was like, we were opening for someone. It was probably High Pilots. 20 big for 2,500 theater or whatever, and they had side fills.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen side fills like the size of that.
Yeah.
And they're like, you each have your own mix, and then there's the side fills.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember we did the sound check. I was like, it sounds like the fucking CD. This is gonna be so fun.
Yeah,
like it's already fun, and then when you get that crispy like mix, and
I love it.
Yeah.
The side fills is like super underrated.
Who thought of these things?
How come
just blasting
every venue's not doing this? Yeah, it's crazy.
You guys, the only one who do this? You should tell people about this. They're like, yeah, dude, where have you been playing? County fairs.
Cheap bar,
high schools, pubs.
Weirdly enough, some markets doesn't have side fills. Yeah, it's crazy, but I love it. I don't know why. I can't stop, even though it's not good for me anymore. Yeah. The money's not there. I'm stressing everyone out. Yeah. I'm working on the road, so I'm the only one not stressed out about money. Yeah. And it's just like, because I'm just like, I wake up before everyone else. I'm on the computer answering emails. I'm doing my day job. You have
some like work you can do mobile.
Yeah, I work remotely.
Nice.
So I'm just on the road.
Sorry, not mobile. Yeah.
I'm just doing that, and I'm like, yeah, great, 6 o'clock. Let's do sound check.
You're stoked.
I'm off of work now.
Yeah.
But everyone else is like, have you put all the checks from the show in your bank yet so we can get paid? I'm like, oh yeah. Now I'm the accountant too.
You're also tour managing.
Yeah, I'm also tour managing. Yeah. How much gas did we spend this week? Okay, sounds good.
That's dude. That's amazing though. Like you're that driven. To do it, that you're doing all that stuff to be out playing.
I just need one more hand though.
Yeah.
I just need one person who can drive the van, do the merch, and that's
Are you the only one who drives?
No, I actually I don't drive that much at all Monday through Friday anymore because I'm working in the back. Or on passenger side working. So I'm very grateful for
people
the members
who a shift and drive. Yeah. Yep.
But Saturday and Sunday I'll do the whole thing. But if we could all have one person, like a merch person who could drive and handle the merch, and it would make a life a lot easier. But we can't. We could barely afford ourselves at the moment. But,
the merch person comes in handy.
So handy.
Yeah, we had a good merch person a few times, and what a way! Just like, not that we don't all load everything, but then they're doing the count-in, they're dealing with the venue.
Yeah, they're getting paid out.
They're getting paid out. Yes. I love when the venues are like,
do all of it.
I love when the venues, man, they're like, oh yeah, we get 20% of your shirts. We're just like,
no,
the fuck?
Yeah, no.
Do you see our van? You see what we're doing right now? Gosh, really?
Yeah. I feel like that's.
Is that still going on?
It's definitely going on, but I feel like more venues are being shamed. It was as good as like people should keep.
There was certainly a threshold. There was a point where they'd be like, you didn't make enough for us to take a cut. Yeah. Don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, especially for the opener, they really don't fuck with you that much.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are the opener. I'm supposed to, but I'm not going to. I'm like, oh, that's okay, nice. Cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
I think the shame is playing a role too. They're like, we don't want to be that.
God, I feel bad.
We don't want to be the troubadour, do we? I lied to the troubadour.
They have 3 Oh, troubadour?
Yeah, I just lied.
You lied to them. Okay, cool.
Like, we didn't sell anything, man.
Yeah.
We're the first of 3.
Yeah.
We didn't sell shit. Yeah.
We didn't sell anything, dude.
Yeah. He's like, okay.
Just like Rolex, leaving with the Rolex on, Lambo. Later.
That's the only place I'm like, dude, you're the troubadour. Yeah. Do you really need my, I love this venue. This is like the best venue ever.
I only played there once. It was awesome. Yeah.
It was awesome. Like, why do you need my merch now? Like,
yep.
Yeah. Favorite venue.
Oh, favorite venue. Well, I would have to say the pageant in St. Louis. Because,
really?
Yeah, because it was always sold out. We wound up, touring with Ludo. We were kind of like I played bass with Ludo.
Yeah.
Matt was our drummer. So there was a lot of tours where he and I did double duty. So all those fans, which they had they have like really diehard fans. They fucking love Ludo. They love their lyrics.
Yeah.
So a lot of them latched onto us. Different music, obviously, but they just, love that Pimo was a part of our band. And so I remember the first time, or maybe it was the second time we played the pageant and it was sold out. And we did Where to Start to end the set. And like just seeing the house lights come up and people singing it in a room like that. Like Where to Start was
pretty anthemic.
Yeah, and it would go over well, like, wherever we were, if the crowd was into it, or like Santa Barbara, Where to Start was, people just, it was a song people knew. To see like that amount of people,
the engagement,
and like, oh, it's not even our headlining show, but they know this song.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, I mean, we did it right. We're like, we're ending the set with this. We only get 30 minutes. Let's end the set with this. And I think we had Matt from The Graduate, who was on tour with us, had his trumpet sent out because he's like, I'll do that song with you guys. We're like, sick. And eventually people from other bands were like, well, I want to play that guitar part. So then the other Tim from Ludo, Where to Start always sounded so good because we wound up bringing in
extra players, and
when you're on tour and there's always the song of someone's like, we're gonna jump on for this.
Hey, yeah.
So it sounded really full.
Cool.
The lighting guy for favorite venue, anyways, the pageant.
So they kind of knew, like the lighting guy kind of already knew.
It was the lighting guy for, what were they called? They were called There for Tomorrow. And this dude was like a genius lighting dude, like young guy, but he had been like watching our set every night, and he said, hey, I really want to do your guys' lights at the pageant. I have a light show worked out.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah. Like, just became a buddy, liked the music. And so I remember
it makes a big difference.
Dude, I remember he hit certain things, like he brought it down and put like a spotlight at the beginning of Devil to Pay, which is kind of ballady and kind of like a real like heart, pouring out your heart song. And I remember right when I like opened my eyes, I was like, oh shit, it's a pitch black, except I was like, this is so dope. And then he brought red lights up. So anyways, Where to Start, he's just like having, it's like a rainbow Where to Start. He's just having fun. And so that was a great, every time I play there, it's been great. But I remember that show specifically and being like, that was great.
Yeah.
930 Club.
930,
For the sound, every last crew member there.
I love DC.
Just was so awesome.
So fun.
Again, you're first, you never know how it's going to be. And we're always on our best behavior. Like, we don't shit talk sound guys. We don't act like cool. Like,
save it for the van. That's what we always say.
Yeah. And walk in and be fucking so polite. Your fucking face hurts. And we found that people respond to that. It's hopefully how we are genuinely anyways, even when it's hard to be. Like you said, save it for the van. Yeah. So I remember 930 Club for the crew. I was like, oh my God, every person in this venue.
Super nice.
So nice. Yeah. Guys, here's the shower. We just clean it. Here's the laundry, whatever you guys need to do. Here's your cupcakes. And that left a really good impression. And the sound in the 930 Club was so good.
It pays off because then we're having conversations like this, like in between shows, or when you bump into someone, it's like you talk highly of a venue. It's like, oh wow, I want to play there. Yeah. And it's like, oh shit. And then that's how you get the better acts, and that's how you get more people through the door. It's good for business both ways if everyone's just being really nice to each other.
Absolutely.
And then the other venues where you're like, that sound guy really didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
Dude, I don't even know if I can.
Probably shouldn't, but
I'll tell a story.
Sure. Okay. Nameless venue.
The band is, we got to Toad the Wet Sprocket is from here.
Yeah, of
and
course.
Super, they're just the coolest fucking guys. And I reached out to Glenn one day, like on a whim. Hey, I'm from Santa Barbara. You're from Santa Barbara. Like, be cool to get coffee. And he was like, for sure. So did awesome shows with them. There was this one venue in Southern California. It was like a sit down dinners, almost like, do you ever play the Canyon Club?
I've been there, but I've never played there.
You have to order dinner. It's weird. It's like you're doing like dinner theater or whatever. So
they cater to an older audience.
I feel like they get the place we played. There was comedians all over the wall. So I'm like, this is definitely a stand-up
like more
room.
of a comedy. Yeah.
Yeah. The sound was great. Again, Toad is great.
Sure.
But there was this one person who worked at this venue, who looked like an old Aerosmith roadie or just one of those guys, and we walked in the door, us, the pilots, not Toad. Like, we walked in the door and this guy was mean from note one. He was like the backstage was actually in the front of the venue, upstairs. Like, Toad had the main, their dressing room, and then we had a little dressing room. And I remember it's before the show, and I've had just this weirdest, like, I feel it inside of me.
Yeah, shit's gonna go down.
This is just weird. Or just almost like if you're in a haunted house, or a weird sort of like, get this feeling. So this guy comes into our dressing room, and I'm sitting there and I have a beer, and I put it next to me and it's half full. And I stand up to go to the bathroom or grab something, and he walks in. We're all in the room and he grabs it and he goes, "Throw your fucking beers away." And I was like, I'm not done with that. He goes, "What'd you say to me?"
Oh my God.
I was like, "I'll throw it away, but I'm not done with it." And he just takes it and throws it in the trash and walks out. And I was like, we all look at each other like, what the hell just happened? Yeah. And then during Toad's set, we didn't have a bathroom in our dressing room. And to walk to the stage is like, you're upstairs, you go down the front of it's a good minute and a half walk. Okay. And our friends are on stage. Toad is playing and we don't have a bathroom in our dressing room. So I go and I'm starting to walk into Toad's dressing room, of which I've used their bathroom before.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You can't go in there." I was like, we're on tour with them. Like, these are our friends. I have to use the bathroom. He goes, "Well, what if someone gets off stage and has to use the bathroom?" I was like, "Dude, I have to pee. They're in the middle of fucking Walk on the Ocean. Like that's a 5-minute song." Like, he said something like, "Don't talk back," or something, or "You fucking heard me." And I just went. God. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to, and I will never play there again.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just like,
person may not even work there anymore, but still,
I don't know.
It leaves a taste in your mouth. Yeah.
That was the worst experience.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with Toad. It had to do with, and it had nothing to do with anyone else at the venue, but this guy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know. And then word gets around, then I don't want to play there. I don't want to go. I don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
And yeah, it's like you feel gross. You're like, I don't even like. I gotta wash that off me or something. Like, yeah.
There's a few. I've been banking a lot of these episodes, and I just got to put them. I just need to find time to edit them. But like, there's a few of I'm obviously trying to get people who are releasing records and people out of town, but I am trying to carve like the Santa Barbara staples. Like I want to talk to Glenn. I want to talk to J.R. Richards.
J.R.
Right?
Yeah.
Friends with him on Facebook, but never really like met him. And one of the other dudes from Dishwalla just added me on Instagram, on Facebook the other day.
George?
No.
George wound up taking over Mike's drum shop, but then I didn't even know Mike's was gone. Maybe Dan
I think he was one of the guitar players. I don't know. Okay. But I just said, "Hey man, thanks for the ad." Like, local, like love it. Spencer Garden. Spencer's.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Spencer a little bit.
Yeah. He has, I guess there's a movie right now about him that I've been really wanting to watch. I love The Tan. Have you listened to The Tan?
Yes.
I love The Tan.
We went to the Libero because they were like, we're going to show, it was Spencer. This isn't that long ago.
Yeah. The movie, they're still showing it.
Yeah. And they were like, we knew Spencer was playing and they said, we're doing like a 15-minute preview of the movie. And so me and my buddy, Lou and Chris, we're out from New York, and Lou lives here. He's the guy that owns the bar. Lou's big part of the story. Just my life story. Mm-hmm. But so these are the people I'm at the show with. Kind of irrelevant. They showed like 3 minutes of the movie, and that was it. They were like, "Oh, that's all we have." Like they spoke and everything about it, and then Spencer came out and played, which was cool.
Oh, cool.
I was like, I want to see the movie.
Oh,
I want to see this.
But I think now it's done, right?
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
Yep. That's awesome, man. I want to watch it, man. I love The Tan. Spencer's always been really cool to me. Even when I was younger, like I was like, "Yeah, I'm recording my record on the tape. Have you ever done that?" He's like, "That's all we did.
That's all we did, son."
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
No, he was like, "Oh fuck, man, always so cool."
Yeah.
I think about being, in my late 30s, wondering what the scene is here. Like Spencer was here, and like the Tearaways and those guys, what the scene was like then, like I think the Yucatan was like the hot spot, and I never saw a show at the Yucatan.
Club Iguana.
People
say that's just in words I've heard now.
Yeah, it's in the
Or it's like, or maybe I think it's like that's what Soho was.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Because I know Soho has always been a venue.
Yes.
And so I think it had a different name in the 80s. But yeah, there's
I always loved if I run into Spencer, I always, say hi.
Yeah, he's the best.
We were at Pickle Room.
Oh yeah.
One night. And like he was like, "Come over, man!"
Like right there.
He was like, "Come over," and we like just went upstairs and hung out for a little bit. And he said, at the time, like 2011, 2012, we were touring a lot. So like, and we were at the merch table. So like, people are posting pictures with us. And I remember I ran in one day. He goes, "It's so sweet. It's so cute. All the pictures that like people posted you guys." I'm like, "Dude, thanks for like looking for following that. Like that's awesome." And he's so genuine. I just I don't know him very well. I love him the amount of time I've spent with him and
He's the best. Yeah.
I mean, he's a wonder of Santa Barbara.
It was
and like that's a, you know.
I thought he was just the guy who played at Fiesta. I was like, okay, why does everyone love this guy? Like, you know, when you're a kid and you're kind of like, what's the story?
Que paso?
Yeah.
Thought it was your only vato.
I was like, what's up with this? And then you dig deeper and you're like, oh, he was like one of the first bands that like popped and like got signed and and then one thing happened and one thing leads to another. And but I just found out about another band, even older, from the 60s, and they were the first Santa Barbara band to get signed. And they lived like right in our neighborhood.
Who's this?
Their song's called Meet Me on the Corner. Oh, I'll play it for you. And it's like these like 4 Mexican brothers, and they're on Halkirk. You know Halkirk,
and
right
they just
there
like
next to San Marcos.
Okay.
And they got signed, and they're like the house band for Earl Warren.
Crazy.
and
they had like a hit. They had like a song come out. And
they had one like a single come out in Colombia.
It's so funny, and it shows you. I mean, and I know the parts of the Spencer story, and it's like, you know, getting signed. It always seems like, especially when you're young, you're like, we need to get signed. We need to get signed. We need to get signed. And then a lot of times you get signed, and you're like, I don't.
That wasn't it.
No.
Oh, Ernie and the Emperors.
Ernie and the Emperors.
Oh, this is an ad. I'm tired of YouTube. I hate it. But you'll love it. It's the Beatles.
Show the people at home.
Yeah.
And they're from Santa Barbara.
Yeah. Nolita.
Oh. That picture almost looked like it was from San Marcos.
Yeah. All the press photos from like Earl Warren.
Oh my gosh.
So
I love
cool.
it. It's just all harmonized too. Just harmonize everything.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Because, you know, the Paul and John obsessed over the Everly Brothers, and the Everly Brothers had such tight harmony. And it's like,
and Paul Simon too was so high on those guys. I mean, it's so cool to see we could do 8 other podcasts and talk, you know, like,
exactly. Yeah. So it's like, that was just like that sound, but they were the first band, and they were signed, I think, to Warner or something. And, that was kind of it.
Crazy.
I played football with the drummer's son.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, because my buddy went to go buy a guitar from the drummer, because he's the only member left. And,
alive or like
alive? Yeah,
crazy.
And so he was selling gear, and my buddy bought a Telecaster off him, and he was like, "You went to San Marcos? Oh yeah, I played football." And like, "Oh yeah. Oh, do you know Matt?" And I was like, "Yeah, I went to high school with him." Like,
oh my
gosh. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, started showing us all this like stuff. I was like, what the hell? He's like, yeah, we were signed. And I was like, what the hell?
Damn,
so insane. So it's like them, and then I don't know if there was a band from the 70s that ever got signed, but then Spencer was probably the next band.
Spencer, yeah.
And then the boom
90s,
of the 90s.
It was Dishwalla, Toad. Ugly Kid Joe.
Yeah. From IV.
I remember I worked at I worked at In-N-Out first, and then I worked at Montecito Village Grocery.
Yeah.
This little grocery store tucked back in Montecito.
Uh-huh.
And I would, I'd work these jobs, and I'd be like, hey, I'm going to be on tour for like a couple months. In-N-Out had so many employees. They're like, cool, man. I remember we got like the cover of the Scene magazine or something, and I brought it to my manager. He's like, that's really cool. I was like, cool. I'm going to be gone for a couple months too. And he's like, great. I was trying to be like, we're like, it's good though. Mm-hmm. And so they were cool about it at Montecito Village Grocery because someone from Ugly Kid Joe had worked there.
No way.
Yeah. So they're like, that's awesome. Man, your job's waiting for you when you come back. Like, we're all about it. Like, thank you.
That is awesome.
Because I don't make money on the music thing. Yes. So I need to work in the meat market still.
Dude, I used to go to tour with like $300 in my pocket.
Yeah.
And just like eat a little something or pack like a bunch of snacks for the road. Like it was like, I don't know how I used to tour like that.
We did one tour where we got the Taco Bell thing where they were like, submit to us if you're a band.
Yes,
and so they sent us like, they still do.
Yeah.
So, which is
Feed
awesome.
the beat.
Dude. Yeah, that commercial's all over the place.
Yep.
And dude, I mean, I'll tell you, that van was very unpleasant. Dust cloud to be in.
Hey, Chipotle used to do stuff for bands too.
Yeah.
Like if you said, hey, we're a band, and they would give you free or buy one, get one.
Yeah.
But I tried that recently on a tour, and they're like, what are you talking about?
This is going to incriminate me, but we did, one tour, literally Subway stopped doing this, I'm sure because of the first Holden tour. someone had left on the table their roll of, it's like buy 8 or 10. Someone had left the roll out. So dude, we're 16, 17. Like, someone grabbed it.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, we just need to get a bunch of cards. But Jimmy was smart. He was, 21 at the time. Right. So he was the adult. And he goes, rip them all up so they're not in sequence.
Oh.
So rip them up, put them together. So we'd all go into Subway. We'd be in like Fresno and we'd go into Subway.
Yeah.
And we'd all get a free sandwich. Yeah, we all got our free sandwich today. Like we got that ticket. And like within 2 months or so, I think they had heard and it had gone around to like the franchisees that someone was like had a scam with these cards, and then they stopped doing it.
Stopped accepting them.
Like a Subway altogether, I think stopped doing it. And we're
tour.
Like, we did that.
We blew
we
it.
did this. Oops.
Oh my God.
Oops.
No, we love those brands. Shout out to Whole Foods. Definitely have. I've stolen from Whole Foods all the fucking time.
We were teenagers. We were kids at some point. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I never like robbed a bank or stole a car, but
needed food.
I took a candy bar
from a fucking major corporation. I think they'll be okay. Like it's fine. Yeah.
Some evil lair. Some guy sends me a lair, and like you take a candy bar, and something starts buzzing in his office, and he's like, "Wait a second."
Hungry teenagers.
are
feeding themselves. God forbid they feed themselves. Yeah. Oh man. So. Let's bring it all around.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
So you have new music. When's that coming out?
So okay, new music. Let's see. There's a song called "Feels Like Our Year," and that will be out first.
Okay,
that's almost done.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that is out. Let's see. It's March 1st in the next month.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Well, let me see this high pilot. Okay, so. I'm like I said at the beginning, like finally got the courage. I had all this insecurity about putting music out on my own or whatever. Finally got the courage to do it. And like while I'm like brainstorming one night, Michael texts me a High Pilot album cover and a new High Pilot, old song titles that we never put out. I'm like, what is this? He goes, we should put out this stuff. And I was like,
it's all recorded?
Yeah, it's already recorded.
But it was stuff that
stuff that didn't make the cut, And I was like, man, I'm really brainstorming on what to do with my music. But if I, it's already recorded. There's not a lot of energy into it. It's just we did this sort of like, we just posted it on our socials. Like, hey, would this interest you if we made a vinyl or something? Like, would you want to order this? And he got a couple hundred. I got a couple hundred comments and Instagram, and we're like, okay, like fuck it, like it's cool. We're like, this might be the best High Pilot CD we ever made. Like these songs are cool. Why?
Yeah.
We had to go back to Jason McIntyre, the guy in St. Louis who we work with, and we're like, do you have WAV files of these couple songs? And he's like, I keep everything. Hold on. Oh. So he calls us one night. First off, Jason, shout out Jason McIntyre. It's Sawhorse Studios, the best. Just so much fun to be there. It's like a playground for musicians. Awesome. And he pulled them up and he goes, why didn't we put these out? Like, he's like, these are good. Why didn't we do these? Because I'm so happy you guys are putting these out. So he's like, let me did a little, they already sounded good. The mixer already good. He's like, I'll tweak a thing here or there. Don't worry. Yeah. Sends it to us. And we're like, okay, so like there's a pre-order page up. I'll text you the link. I don't know if you put that on the podcast or not. You don't have to. Okay, cool. Mikey, I'll get you the link. Okay. It's like on Shopify. It's just literally like, as people order it, it gets made. So they're just, if they're interested, there's like a shirt combo, there's a sweater, and they don't get made until someone's like, I'll pay for this. And then it gets made and sent to them.
That's kind of like the new way. It's like the more sustainable way now. Yeah.
And we're not like, hey, give us $1,000. Like, it's just like, cool.
Made to order,
made to order, and
he's doing that as Amazon.
What's that?
Amazon's in that game right now.
Yeah. And they're doing all right. And they're doing pretty good for themselves.
They might take over soon. In the next 5 years, we'll all be doing it with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they are. But so it's
and
really
cool. And they'll ship it to you fast.
And they'll ship it to you. It'll be on a drone down the street and be like, oh, cool.
Here's your High Pilot CD in 24 hours.
So, it's 6 songs.
6 songs.
Cool run of 6 songs.
What eras are these extra songs from?
Yeah, there's actually we recorded this song Anytime Now. I think everything is probably from this batch of songs like 11, 12, 13. But Anytime Now was the first song I wrote. When so Holden broke up. I had this opportunity to go live in New York with my brother and then work at this bar. And I took it because the band broke up and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm lost, blah, blah, Went out there. The very first song I wrote was Anytime Now. The next song I wrote the next day was Where to Start. So Anytime Now was from a long time ago. But we recorded it finally as a band. It's cool. It's kind of like a Stonesy chorus.
But in the moment, it was like so old. You're like, it's like that's why these things get like tossed aside.
Yes.
It's like, it's so old. Like,
and you know how much you lose perspective on a thing when you've been looking at the thing.
The new song is shiny and new.
Yes.
And I did something cool on this one.
Yep.
You know. Yeah.
So Anytime Now is older, but I think everything was recorded kind of that era. The only thing is Young and Hungry. There's a song called Young and Hungry on Only Human, kind of a Springsteen-y big like piano rock thing. I had an intro to it. This piano, just slow, pretty, like telling a story of this person, and then it would go into, and then Young and Hungry would start, but we never did it. So Young and Hungry is just Young and Hungry. So we had this Young and Hungry prelude that I did. I'm like, well, if we're gonna do this, I want to put the Young and Hungry prelude on.
Right,
this
that's how it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
yeah.
So Young and Hungry's not on this album, but the Young and Hungry prelude opens the album.
Okay, good, yeah.
And then it goes into I think the song Space and Time we're gonna do.
Are you saying that we can make our own Spotify playlist and put the prelude with?
We could put it before Young and Hungry,
how it was supposed to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that stuff's already being mastered because it was never mastered. So that's what we did. Wave files and Dan.
The great Dan
Tino let's see, he recorded a song with us, meaning like engineered it. It was just us, and then Dan was the dude pulling all the levers.
Yeah, sure.
A song called Space and Time. Get Up, but we had another song called Get Up, and so this one's now called Streetbound Symphony.
That's good.
And then holy smokes, now that I'm trying to think about it. And something else. Yeah. There's other songs. Yeah, there's 6 of them.
That's great.
Yeah. And then now I'm reeling. So yeah, that's available. That's available to order now. It'll all be done very soon. And then solo stuff. I'm excited. It's just, I was like, am I Tom? Am I Tommy?
Yeah.
Things that don't matter. You know, things that you worry about.
The little details. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've been stuck there for 3 years and it's been too long, and
you just have to pull the trigger.
And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about where I'm playing tonight is, it's this little spot called Sam's Place in Ojai. And I was there.
Never played in Ojai.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's just this little town, but the community's cool. This couple of musicians wound up at my set last time I played, and so I'm playing with them tonight.
Oh, sweet!
I'm opening for them. But I was doing one of those things where I was playing some covers and playing some originals, and it was a Thursday night. It rained, so there was 10, 12 people in there, and I was like, cool. I'm just gonna workshop my new songs. It's all acoustic. It's all basically the way Where to Start would start.
Sure.
That's how all these songs came about. Like. So I'm sitting there playing originals, and I started to play a cover, and the guy's like, no, dude, play us more originals.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, this feels good. Like, this feels good. I'm going to keep doing this. To back up, Ludo does this. They get together every year for Halloween, and they do a three show run at the pageant. And I hadn't played out since COVID, where I wasn't just doing covers and like kind of Beatles guy in the corner with a tip cup out and a couple beers. Tim called me from Ludo and was like, do you want to play the event? It'll be in the front room. It's the Halo bar, kind of like a velvet. They have like a velvet sized room there. And it sold out super quick.
It's like the Catalyst.
Yeah, the Catalyst
has like a 300 and then. Yeah.
Yep. And so the thing sold out super quick, and I hadn't played out original music since before COVID. I flew with my acoustic. It was that easy. I got up on that stage and I was crying. The crowd was crying. Hit a couple songs, and I was like, "Oh God!"
Yeah.
Ooh, they were harmonizing. The crowd was harmonizing "Devil to Pay."
Oh yeah.
And like, so I was like, "Okay, I gotta get back." And we talk about like touring in the van and everyone driving. Like, man, there's nothing easier than flying with an acoustic guitar. There were 200. I mean, it sold out. It was so nice to go to St. Louis, where I think
knowing it's sold out already.
They're gonna be here, and it was like. That was a big moment for me to be like, all right, like, let's stop sitting on our hands. Like, you don't need to, especially with having kids now.
Sure.
We didn't even talk about that greatest thing in the world.
Right.
Trying
to prioritize time.
But like, if I could fly to Chicago, fly to New York, fly to St. Louis, drive up to SF, like I'm 45 minutes from Hotel Cafe.
Right.
Who luckily will have me. So hopefully I'm there soon too.
Yeah.
I'd love to do some stuff in Santa Barbara. Jeff Timer, I think I'll talk to because I can't play at Soho. So we'll see.
Wait. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a whole nother story.
That's
and I don't,
probably, we can probably save it for after I turn off, because I always wonder about that situation.
Yeah. That was crazy. But I'm okay. So
good.
I'm here.
That's the important part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, where else would you play? There's like nowhere else to play in Santa Barbara.
It would have been Velvet, right? But
shout out to Velvet Jones.
I know, Craig.
Craig.
One love, Craig.
I love that guy.
He's awesome. Craig was so fucking cool to us.
I loved working. That was like one of the cooler jobs I had.
Oh yeah, you worked there too?
Yeah, I did social media.
Yep.
For a while.
He was
they're like my second
guy.
client. Now that I do social media for bands, that's like what I do at the management company. And it's crazy to think like, I started Velvet, just like running theirs and trying to learn how to do it. And like,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
It was cool.
What a great man.
What a good place.
And the people like that and the stories like that.
I heard there's another venue opening, but it's bigger than Soho.
There in
No, I can't. I probably should. I'll cut this part out.
And,
I'll cut this part out. But Golden Voice is opening one where Casablanca was.
I think I heard something about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big 800 cap, 6 or 800 cap.
That's the thing. There's no like
that in between.
There's no in between in Santa Barbara. You have Velvet was 300. Soho's about what
380.
Yeah, and then you jump to like a Libero. And then the Arlington and Granada and the Santa Barbara Bowl.
You don't make money at the Libero. We asked.
Yeah.
And it was like $6,000 guarantee. I was like, you're full of shit. You're like, oh, that's why the tickets are so expensive for Libero.
Yep.
Because you have to like make your money back somehow.
Yep. And their union.
Yeah.
We did a couple Christmas shows there. Because we had we would do them at Soho. And I remember the last.
Velvet too. I think you guys
we did a couple at Velvet. And I think Holden did. But the last 2010, we did the Christmas show at Soho, and I remember Gail was like, we turned away like 100 people.
Yeah.
So you guys, she goes, I love having you here, but you probably want to think about doing something else next year. Yeah. So we did the Libero, and and we're like, all right, well, we're going all out then. Like we got tequila sponsors, wine sponsors, open bar, Kenny Loggins. Yeah. Open bar and Kenny Loggins.
That's it.
That's
all you had to say.
Podcast done. What more do you need?
But it's
we
like
had a 3-piece horn section.
The cost is crazy.
Yeah. Yep. No, we.
But if you want to sell 600 tickets, I think it's 600 seats.
And the first one we sold out, and the next year we weren't in town leading up to it, and it was like we didn't sell it out.
Right.
Maybe like 400 people.
Right.
So it was a different, and you could feel it, different vibe.
Yeah.
We were such like, and we got this from the Holden years, like. And I've seen you out putting up posters. Like I'd go to IV all the way to the end of fucking Carp, and every coffee bar, every pole, Holden poster or High Pilots poster, and then and all the radio promo people that were cool enough to come in and talk about it. Like we didn't really do that the second time we did the Libero, and it was noticeable.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
It's a big room.
Yeah,
I just did 2 nights at Soho, and I was like, dude, this is
that's right.
Way too hard.
Yep.
I'm not doing this ever again. I could have sold the same amount of tickets at the Libero. Because if you think about it, it's like we sold 660 tickets over the first 2 days. So neither show sold out, but they were like pretty full.
But
I was like, fuck, that could have just been one show at the Libero. But we were recording a live album, and I wanted to have 2 takes of everything.
And you'd want to, I think, probably bring in your own sound person.
Yeah, so we did that.
To Libero.
Oh, at the Libero for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're paying for that. I don't know. I think we got a quote. My agent got a quote from this is what their room cost would be, and I was like, this is not worth it.
I know.
How do you make money playing at the Libero? Expensive
if we were rich kids, it'd be one thing,
Yeah. It's like, I also feel bad charging people $50 for a ticket or something.
Yep. Yeah. We did. That's why we did the angle of if you
can get Kenny.
Open bar.
Yeah.
And we were like, hey, I think we charged $25. But it was like, bring a jar of peanut butter for the Unity shop. It's open bar, baby.
Yeah.
And which halfway through that show, there were a couple people in the front. And I was like,
they really
holy shit, what have we done?
Yeah.
Because it was like tequila, wine, and beer. Yeah. It was, I think it was $25. Oh, in 2011, $25 could still
get you. That could get you something. Barely gets you in and out now. You worked at In and Out?
I worked at In and Out. It was my second job.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There was a Subway at the Turnpike Shell.
Oh yeah,
years ago.
Yeah.
That was my first job. In fact, 3 of my brothers and I, we all worked there.
I used to go to that one.
I worked at that for my first job, and then got a job at In and Out, and I was there for.
The In and Out was relentless.
1.5 or 2 years.
It never ends.
No,
it's never dead. It's never slow. It's
crazy. Every time I get off a Turnpike to go to my dad's or to go to Lauren's folks, I'm like, holy shit, the line is
slammed.
It's just out. It's out on the turnpike.
Oh yeah.
Like every time.
Good for them. I talked to someone.
It's good food.
I talked to someone who transferred from Ventura, and they told me, "Are you sure you want to transfer to Santa Barbara?" It's not like here.
Yeah.
Like they're like, warning people. Like if you transfer over there, you're gonna bust your ass.
Yep. It's the only one in town. I mean, you think about if our boroughs are, maybe Carp, maybe they go to Ventura, but like, Summerlin, Cito,
yes,
downtown, Goleta. And they're all
there's nothing in Lompoc.
There's nothing in Lompoc
not until Slow, really.
See, so shit, they're even coming from Lompoc. They're coming from the 5 boroughs.
Yes,
to that one in and out.
That's awesome.
Awesome,
right,
dude.
Yeah, let's wrap it.
I should boogie to get to Ojai.
Yeah. Yep. Hell yeah, man, dude.
Awesome.
Really great talking.
Amazing.
Man. It's been
it was
a long time coming. Yeah.
Really long.
Yeah.
Really long.
Glad we could chill.
Yeah. You can turn it off and then we can wrap.